Hello, everyone.
What's going on,
Welcome
guys?
to Stones Live. I'm Brent Harrington. No, they got my name. They got my name.
Different today.
Thank you. Lost a little bit of weight. No, actually, I'm not supposed to be here because this is Omaha, and I know how to lose money in Omaha. But
and we have our special guest.
here's an Omaha commentator. So he wasn't here. He's going to be fired after the show. So it's his last show. Make sure you give a lot of support here. Anyways, I gave Chris all of the information for the show, like all the fun stuff we're going to talk about. So just follow his lead.
So he's the fun guy?
Yeah, he's the fun guy.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
guys, have fun.
All right, see ya.
Chris is the fun guy. Cool. Oh, here's your badge.
Oh, thank
You'll
you.
probably need that at some
Appreciate
point.
it.
All right, guys, and we're back. We got a really good game tonight.
Oh, yeah?
We got
The 2040 Omaha.
2040 Omaha 8 or better. And the players on that table already look like they're gassed up.
Yeah, there's some money. Some money.
Yeah, and
I like that this is a new crowd, too. It's like
Right.
fresh faces because we've got 08. You know, so not necessarily the normal Stones Live players.
you know, whole bunch of people see, you know, how they handle this game, a whole new game. I think this might be the first time we've done a 2040 Omaha high-low.
Maybe 2040. But yeah, I don't know, actually.
But
I wouldn't be the one to ask about that.
It's-
Lance or someone else.
definitely one of the rare
Justin.
times.
How you been, man?
Man, I've been good. Just hanging out. Had a good Christmas, hanging out with the family. How about you?
Yeah, same. Not bad. Just being lazy. Now we're back for the. Looking at the chip counts, there's some money on the table for sure.
Yeah,
Damn,
definitely,
08.
definitely some big sacks over there. All right, well, we got a few good things that we're going to cover tonight as we go on, but I think let's go ahead and introduce the players at this point.
Yeah, sounds good.
So it looks like on seat 1, we have John.
John. Ooh.
And that's a good picture of John.
Another solid beard.
Right.
Another Stones Live solid beard here.
And John looks like he started the stream with somewhere around 1,000.
Okay.
And, you know, I haven't seen him play too many games. I don't know much about him. But I expect that, you know, in the nature of Omaha, he's going to see some hands. He's going to play some hands.
Yeah, I mean, probably everybody is. I don't know, like, being unfamiliar with these players, I think it's going to be interesting to see their style. I know one of the players, I forget his name, Antonio, he's in C3. He was playing the PL08, the 5.5 PL08, so he likes his Omaha. The rest of them look vaguely familiar, but I can't point exactly where I know them, so it's going to be fun to see some new players here, at least for me.
And we have seen seat 2, Shane. Shane's played in not this last month, or, you know, not this month, but November's Veronica and Friends.
Oh, okay.
He was sitting to my left. You know, we had a good time. Really good guy. Really fun to be at the table with. You know, definitely is going to play a few hands.
Yeah, he looks like a fun guy.
Yeah,
It's a nice picture.
I think he's going to be more sober today than the last stream, but
Yeah.
you know, it is
Well,
kind of
yeah,
the nature, right?
typically the Veronica and Friends alcohol level is a little bit higher.
Yes, it's
Not
a required
yeah.
aspect of that game.
Yeah. And then Antonio was in C3. I may have seen him before, but the first time I remember seeing him was a PL08 tournament.
Okay.
And then he played that PL08 game, so it seems to like his Omaha, which means I like him because he likes Omaha.
Yeah. All right, it looks like we got Gene in seat 4. Looks like he's starting somewhere around 2,000. And I know I've seen Gene on stream once or twice, I believe, but
It's a Gene stream.
Gene stream.
I don't know. That
Mean
seems like-
Gene stream. But yeah, he looks like another guy. He probably has been playing Omaha for, you know, a number of years. And I'm sure he's just...
Whoa. Man, he
Just
looks
guessing,
like he's been
guessing.
playing Omaha for a number of years. Well, why does he look that way? No, I'm just kidding. We gotta move on.
All right, in seat 5 we got David.
David.
And
David looks exactly like Gene. What a surprise. They're twins. They both have been playing Omaha for a very
number of
long
years,
time.
number of
Oh,
years.
sorry, a number of years, not a very long time. Anyway, David.
Have you played with him much, or?
You know what? I probably have. I don't know. It's it doesn't stick out, to be honest. So yeah, we have.
We'll see how he plays. All right, seat 7 we got Brandon.
It says Corey. Oh wait, there you go.
Man, we're trying to skip over Corey already.
Right. Yeah.
Corey, we're sorry. We're sorry.
So we also have Corey.
But we're so excited to talk about Brandon.
Brandon, who was across the room at a glance mistaken for Matt Berkey at a moment.
Yeah. I don't know who would do
Somebody
such a thing.
did that, yeah.
But it's probably one of these two people in the booth. I was worried about that. And in seat 9 we have Samantha, or seat 8.
Yeah, 8-handed. So I mean,
all right,
not too shabby. And we're already into some sweet Omaha action. And yeah, everybody wants to play. Kings is not really loving this board too much, but you're not hating it.
Yeah, and this is definitely one thing that we talked about last time when we were commentating on the Omaha, but I expect it to be even more so now with the Omaha high-low, especially a limit variant. You're going to have a lot more people going to the flop. So I think it's one of those games that really, everybody kind of throws hand selection out the window to a degree.
I guess it depends on the player. 2040, I think you're getting up there. Like a drinking 4-8 Omaha game, people
absolutely
are going to be a little bit wider. Here, I think that some of these guys, if you're playing 2040 Omaha, you probably log quite a few hours at this game. So I imagine we're going to see some, maybe we'll see some splashing, but I think we'll see some solid play. I don't know. I'm hoping. No, I don't know.
I think we're gonna see, just quite a bit of everything.
It's very easy for people to light 5 to 6 bets a hand on fire in 4-8. But when you're talking 5 or 6 bets here, it's $100 and $200 a pot. That's not great.
Right.
You're not loving that.
Everybody else.
And is there a kill on this? I see.
No, I believe it's just 2040 straight.
Okay, yeah, 2040 is big enough, but a kill would be interesting. It might be. There might be a kill. What's that button?
This one?
Yeah.
That's where they put down the burn card. It just anchors it.
Oh, they have that now?
Yeah.
Oh, right, that's right. They added an anchor button.
For the dealer.
Yeah. What's it? A burn protector. Card protector for the burns. Yeah, no kill. All right. Well, that's fine. 2040 is pretty awesome. What's up, Ghost of M?
All right.
What's up, everyone? Carlin. Suited aces. I know that one of the first people that comment said, "Oh damn, Omaha."
Yep.
Too bad. Too bad. So sad. Antonio.
So Brandon raised with a blind hand out of the hijack.
Oh, we're back.
It's back to us.
What are we looking at? Hello. I got a haircut. Is that what we're back for? Did you get a haircut as well?
I shaved as well.
Cleaned it up a little bit. Nice.
Right.
Yeah, I like it. In case you can't tell, this is my Christmas sweater from the Christmas sweater episode, but without the Christmas accoutrement.
I left my hat here, unfortunately, and my sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And all the appearance that include that
And the trash can. Right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Nice.
It's a one-time appearance kind of a thing.
I could be. No, we're definitely on us.
No.
Hello. Well, just to tell you guys what's going on, the board right now 3-5 rainbow. Antonio has 3 pair, no low. We still haven't seen Brandon's hand. It looks like Brandon either mucked the river or something. I'm not really sure what happened. It's very tiny.
Right. Well, actually, I think this is a good time to talk about. We do have a lot of things coming up here on Stones. One of the big things we have is Chris Moneymaker Week. Chris Moneymaker.
Gets the whole week.
He's going to be
Moneymaker
here.
Week.
We're doing 3 shows with him. It's going to be Wednesday, January 3rd. It's going to be a 5-5 no limit hold'em game. We're going to do Thursday, January 4th. It's going to be a 5-5 PLO 8. Actually, sorry, yeah, PLO 8. Right. So it's going to be this game, but high-low variant or PLO.
Yeah.
And then Friday, January 5th, it's going to be a 25-50 no limit hold'em game.
Nice.
So we're going to see quite a bit of action.
Yeah, it's huge. 2550 is one of the biggest games we have on the stream.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
It's the biggest No Limit game I think we've had on the stream.
And he's going to be in the booth for all 3 games. I don't know whether we're going to be able to get him out on the table a little bit.
I'm sure he'll find time to play, even if it's not on stream.
If he's in the booth for the stream, he'll definitely be out on the table.
Right, he'll already be on the list waiting. Then the first open seat when the stream is done.
Yes.
What's up, Waprai? So one of the things that I find interesting here, not interesting, but is even though it's 2040, people are limping. David limped his suited ace-4, 8-7 under the gun. Nobody raised. Oh, actually, Antonio raised. And I guess they both called. Is that right? Then it looks like it. So, the system is tripping me out for a second. Looks like Antonio raised, and Antonio is going to bet the flop. Is that right? No, didn't bet the flop. David has a bad straight, so that's fun.
Yeah, but I think we're already starting to see. I think we're going to have a little bit of some splashy play. People seeing some flops, which is what we like.
Yes.
Nobody wants to see a game where everybody's just folding.
Well, I don't really like limping in early position in any game.
Sure.
But I guess if that means we get 4 people to a flop and we get huge Omaha pots, then I'm not going to really complain.
We're gonna take what we can get right now.
Although huge Omaha pots might actually be redundant, right? Omaha pots get pretty big.
They just get big.
But this one, we'll see. Like I said, I think Antonio will get in there. Who is it? Brandon. He's also raising pre-flop. What's up, Chris Moneymaker's son? So Chris Moneymaker is coming, and Chris Moneymaker's son is in the chat.
So what we want to know is Chris Moneymaker's son, is he going to come out here with Chris Moneymaker? Or is he going to have to stay home and watch
I'm pretty sure that's Hollywood.
It's Hollywood.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, wait, I'm not sure how far we can take it. Yes, he's bringing, although I don't think, I know he has 3 kids. I'm assuming one of them is a son.
Yes.
I do not think he is of gambling age, though.
Maybe not.
Yet.
Maybe not. Soon.
Yeah.
Soon. Yeah, he did win the World Series.
Yeah, I'm sure he's
been a number of years now.
Getting ready to take his place in the home games of Tennessee. I believe that's where Chris is still living. So another thing is limping in position. I think if you're gonna play Queen 6 3-2, you could raise that. If you're gonna play it and you're gonna play it in position, I don't hate raising it. You're letting the small blind get in there. Gene may have seen a flop with that, but maybe not.
Right.
So then now you hit a queen, you're no good.
I think a good thing to know is, how many hands is Gene folding? Is he just going to call everything, from the blinds?
I don't think he will.
Right, I don't think so either. So, you make a good case to raise, and if you just take down the blinds with that hand, you're happy taking that down. And now you're kind of stuck having to make a hand.
Right, and the blinds are big enough in this game.
Right.
And now you have he's value betting a bad flush. I did check to him a couple times, so.
And Gene got stuck with the set.
And yeah, Gene has no low, so John's going to take the whole pot. Well, there isn't a low on the board, but that's beside the point. Even if there was, he didn't have a low.
So we got.
It wasn't getting there either way.
Ghost of Bam, Watbry, Rick, Chris Moneymaker's son, all the usuals, everybody that we get to say hi to and chat with.
Yeah.
On the regular.
Is this your second time in the booth?
Third.
Third.
Yeah.
I missed.
Third, full episode. I've been in the booth a few other times when I'd play.
Oh, right. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Well, it's exciting to have you back. I know we did one.
Yeah, 5-5
a couple of weeks ago. Mix. Yeah, that's right. See, it's so funny that Veronica keeps calling you Mastic.
Yeah.
Mustic.
Mustache.
Mustache. Hey, Mustache. There's not even an M or a U in it, right? Mustache.
No,
but it's fine.
She was born in Poland, so we give her a lot of leeway when it comes to pronouncing things.
Reading? No.
Yeah. Walking.
See, this is the kind of hand. I don't know. I think if you're gonna play tip top, look, Brandon folds. under the gun. It's not really a great hand.
Right,
it's
you don't
not
have good.
much
going on.
Yeah.
You have like third nut, low, draw.
Maybe he's the type of player that's gonna limp with a suited ace 4 there, but based on that fold, maybe not.
Yeah, and I mean he might like overcall from like mid to late position, and over like a couple limpers already.
Now he's hating it. No, he's not hating it. He knows he should have folded.
Correct.
I like Antonio. I'm pretty sure we should get used to Antonio's cards not being on the stream because I believe that was a consistent thing on the PLO8.
Okay.
I'm not sure whether he's just like completely unconcerned about it or not, or just hasn't quite gotten them like onto the whole thing.
Right.
So just be prepared for that. It should be fun for us. We get to guess what he's got, or attempt to guess what he's got. In Omaha, it's not very easy.
So let's see. No flush.
No flush. Antonio shows ace queen, queen 5. Is that a queen or a jack? Ace queen jack 5 for queens up.
And takes it.
Not too shabby, yeah.
Oh, and David has the low, A6 low.
No low.
Is there no low?
Antonio gets the whole pot. Yeah.
Oh, no low.
Yeah,
Sorry about
2-4 for queen 10. So Antonio gets another little pot. I think this is a big enough limit where we're really only going to see like 2 or 3 people see the flop. On some rare occasions, maybe we'll see like 4 or 5, depending on how the hands are dealt, in the position of the players. Also, how like willing everyone else is to limp behind if somebody limps under the gun.
Yeah, kind of the domino effect. One person limps, you get everybody else.
Also, if you get into the habit, right? Like if every hand people are just limping and see the flop, the guy that raises is suddenly an outlier, like drawing attention to himself or something because everyone's gotten into that rhythm.
Right.
You might even think about it and realize.
And then there's the other thing is, if like some tables which would normally have very tight or very aggressive players kind of get into that rhythm early on of just limping a lot of hands, then it kind of changes the dynamic. So it'd be interesting to see, like you're saying, is this group going to be, the kind of players that are going to be still a little bit tight, trying to play good hands, or are they going to start, just over limping everybody?
Looks like we did have a 2-bet, a raise from Gene. I like it. He's coming into the pot and he's going to raise. As soon as I say that we might not see Antonio's cards all night, Antonio's cards are right there.
There we go.
Now Gene is the one. Maybe I was talking about Gene. Anyway, Brandon's calling from the big blind. It's not unusual to defend pretty much, a high percentage of your big blind hands to 1 bet.
Any hands are going to be playable. A couple suited cards, a couple straightening cards. He flops a set of 9s, which is probably going to be good right now. You did have Gene raise pre-flop, so depending on how aggressive he is.
Gene's hand could be something like, oh no, it looks like he's getting ready to fold. Maybe that's just like a juke on his part. Antonio bets 40 with the nuts.
The Broadway.
And Brandon, I don't know, like you check call again. I mean, you're in a bad spot if you're calling the. He can probably find. Oh, did Antonio check behind?
Did Antonio think it
Maybe
was
he just thought it was a chop or something. Yeah. Sometimes. I mean, I don't know that Brandon's going to call with a set on that board.
But I think it's still worth it because people will call side, like side calls. So.
Oh, betting is huge. You want to bet the nuts because
give people a chance to call.
If you want to limit, I think is different than other games just because when you have something on the river, I don't know. I guess you want to save bets, but when you have the nuts on the river, you're not trying to save bets. You're trying to get as many bets as you can in there. You can't lose. You can't get 3/4 because there's no low.
Right.
So there's no reason not to bet there.
Yeah, exactly. You're just, like I said, even if you think it's going to be, a split pot most of the time, still you just take it.
I saw Eric Goldstein and El Sriracha some friends of mine from the Run It Up crew.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, they were in there earlier. I'm not sure if I know Aaliyah is hosting a charity stream. I think it's still going on. They've been going for like a week and raised like $25,000 or somewhere near $25,000 for the Ridge charity or Reg charity. I mean, I think it's got to be Ridge, right?
Right. Yeah.
R-E-G. Yeah. So they've been doing that for a week. Some of the guys from the chat, like Andrew Barber, were streaming as part of that thing. So that's pretty awesome. They stopped by to say hi.
I like Ghost M's comment. You know, in Limit 08, you have to bet the river, right? I think in any poker, when you have the nuts, I think you can be betting the river.
I guess technically that would be against the rules, right? Like he had the nuts, he didn't bet on the river, he can't lose, right? There's no low.
Right.
I don't know that rule exists as like hardcore as it does in Hold'em, just because of that. Sometimes I think I don't necessarily think this is a great like money making idea, but sometimes they people might not bet because you want to like save on the rake because you think you're chopping anyway, which was the thing. Yeah, but
right. I mean, I think here you're gonna hit the max rake so quickly that shouldn't factor in. If it's an uncapped like 2% rate or something, absolutely, then that does. Those are things that come into play.
Also, as soon as I made a comment about how many players would see a flop, here's like 6 players seeing a flop.
And Dave just comes on with the 6-3-3 deuce and.
I mean, why not? I mean, you're in the cutoff. Everyone else is playing. So the board is saying, or excuse me, our pot thing is saying Queen 3 deuce. It was Queen deuce deuce. So and then.
And with this many people in pre-flop, usually it's not a raised pot. So it seems like it could be unlikely that you have somebody coming along with queens. Unless it's like just like kind of queens by itself.
Just really bad queens late position. Yeah. I mean, the people most likely to have queens would be like Gene or Dave.
Right.
It's not a really great spot. So Gene, it's like John bets. He's betting a gutter, 2 pair, kings up, and a gutter. It doesn't get there. It looks like Gene actually gets there with the straight on the river. Which,
David's just not loving that.
I might check it to check raise the river. I think, but he's acting in position. So, hey, what's up, Eric? Good to see you again, man. So he was checking behind. Unless I'm misremembering the hand, and he was actually acting first and then checked. The problem is, I think, so once you start playing against like good players, let's talk about this real quick. This is coming up, one day Omaha tournament, 5K guaranteed. They said they gave you all the deets.
Yes, really cool tournament. Says 5K guarantee for $150 buy-in. You get to buy in for the first 4 rounds, which are 20-minute rounds, plus till the end of the break. After the break, it goes to 25-minute rounds until the rest of the tournament's over.
Okay.
But it's going to be an Omaha 08 tournament.
Yes, awesome.
Which will be really
The last
cool.
one was a blast. We had one, it was like a Friday night. This one's going to be Sunday in the afternoon, so I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and these are tournaments, and especially Omaha, especially 08, is more of a social game, so it's going to be fun. So if you've never played before, you've always been a little intimidated by everybody wearing sunglasses and bad attitudes, come down here.
They're wearing their sunglasses and their bad attitudes.
But you come down here, it's Omaha, limit. Everybody's going to be joking around and talking and probably receptive to people buying each other drinks.
Yeah, it is Sunday at 3 p.m. So
I think they have like unlimited mimosas.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Just go nuts. I'm pretty sure you can get a mimosa if you want.
I know you can.
Yeah, from experience. Yes. So here we go, another big pot with 2 bets pre. Under the gun, Sheen, at least he limp called ace 4 deuce 7. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's a good hand. You're definitely going to play it for 2 bets. You don't want to play it for 3 bets. Under, limping under the gun is not terrible. Antonio's got an interesting hand where you block the nut low if the board comes the right way, but you also run into a spot where you have like a 3 high flush draw and not the nut low draw, but he's peeling on the turn for a bet.
And another thing, you think about, like, Shane's hand, he's got, the A7, but he doesn't feel comfortable betting it.
I feel like you got to bet this hand. This hand is amazing. When you're on the flop, you have the nut flush draw, a pair, and the nut low draw with a backup. You're betting.
But this has to be like the perfect flop for him. But like I say, he has all that, turns the trips, and is still kind of in check call mode.
Omaha Day, January 14th. Yeah, so that's going to be an entire week of Omaha. The streams that week are going to be all Omaha, which is exciting for me. What's the deal with the overlay? What's going on? 8 Ball was a bot that we don't own. Ah, okay. Get out of here, 8 Ball. 8 Balls suck anyway, right?
Yeah, they never get it right.
It's always wrong.
What's going on, Hebrew Hammer? Welcome to the stream.
But yeah, so it is 2040 Omaha 8 down here at Stones Live. I feel like most people in the chat are already following, but if you're not, hit that heart button, follow us for your all your Stones Live poker needs here on Twitch for another month or so.
Yeah, and we're going to be going to YouTube. We're still going to be streaming on Twitch, but we're also going to be more YouTube forward focused. So if you don't have a YouTube account, which I'm not sure if there's anybody left in this world that doesn't have a YouTube
Even if you don't have, like, YouTube is one of the few sites that doesn't make you sign in to do stuff.
What I think is more likely is there's more people that forgot what their YouTube password is. So take this time, like tomorrow, to research that and get up on your YouTube, because we're going to be streaming over there and talking with everybody over there, and kind of looking forward to that change a little bit.
Oh yeah. Maybe he thinks it's not kosher. Whoa. So Gene's gonna call behind. Antonio limps under the gun with Queen 10-9-9. So Antonio's definitely gonna be exploring the space a little bit with his hand selection. Samantha's raising on the button, which is a good play. Assuming she has, a solid high-low hand. Maybe it's just aces. Who knows?
Gene already has,
For a second, I thought Waprai said, "Screw you, lube." I was like, "What?" That's what happens.
It's a new brand he's working on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called Screw You Lube. In the meantime, here, so Gene's got a good spot. Second nut low draw with people that sign in for a long time. They weren't. Pretty good low draw with a club draw. Shane's got a nice little spot. I mean, I'm not sure you love it when you're only playing for the low, but you have a blocker. You're in a 3-way pot. It's going to give you a chance to make a little extra money. But Samantha could easily have ace deuce. She hasn't been very active post flop. She raised pre-flop.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you kind of wonder what that puts her hand range to. You would expect her to be closer.
I was going to say she's betting now. I could see her having something like ace 3 suddenly. She has ace 3 something. I think she's got a 3 in there. I haven't seen it. Anyway, Gene is not going to get the low. Shane's going to take half the pot with the low. And Samantha's going to take the high with 3s full of queens. So I don't, I like that hand. I think it's fine, especially on the button against people who are going to be limping their entire range of hands, which could be something like, we've seen like 6-3-3 deuce, those kinds of hands.
I was thinking earlier, it's like, I usually not a fan of, you have a lot of people that will play like any ace deuce, regardless whether it's suited or with anything else.
You're not a fan of those people?
I'm fine with those people.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Welcome to the game.
Yeah.
No, but as far as people that will then take just the nut low draw on its own and kind of barrel with it, because since everybody plays ace deuce, you're going to be so likely to be quartered that I don't really think it's a good place to be. But I think with an exception to that, I do think if you have ace deuce deuce and you flop
you can be a little bit more aggressive.
Exactly, because now you're blocking your chances or likelihood of being quartered.
Yeah. I think okay, so like I guess you kind of fill out your table. You see the kinds of people who bet the nut low draw. As like the first action.
Right.
I typically, if I'm raising pre and I hit a nut low draw, I'm going to bet the nut low draw. Most people are going to call. But I'm also going to bet that nut low draw if I'm raising and I hit like a wrap or,
Right.
So
I want it working with what I have going for the high, as opposed to just barreling that on its own. And I think that's an issue that a lot of people run into, is they go, oh, well, I got the nut low draw, and especially with the ace deuce, and get really aggressive with it and really end up just kind of hurting themselves. Because so many people play ace deuce, it's just a lot of times you're just going to be quartered, and you're not taking down the pot, high low, like often enough.
There's a nice little debate in the chat about YouTube versus Twitch. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll stay in this chat and just hang out with you guys. We'll just talk about the streams of yesteryear. Anyway. Corey's in a decent spot here. Actually, no. Sorry. Shane's hand is nice on the turn.
Brandon gets there.
Let's see.
Straight.
Let's see. Yeah. Well, Brandon had like a super wrap. Does he? Oh, yeah. He does have a straight with the 7.
Yes.
He had not a bad hand on the turn. Corey didn't hate his spot, because I think sometimes when you're playing against people who are going to play like ace deuce, ace king, you have the best ace king with a pretty good low draw or pretty good low 2-5 low. Depending on the action, you can feel pretty confident about having the best low, especially when that ace comes, right? Like a lot of people will play ace deuce, but how many people have ace deuce 3, 4, 5?
Correct.
One of those cards to back it up. I'm not sure. Yeah, so the action goes pretty quick, which is always fun with a limit game.
Yeah, there's not a lot of just endless tanking that you get.
Friggin' endless tanking.
Endless tanking and bad attitudes.
What's funny is how there's a lot of people who have like their own ideas of how long you should take.
Right.
And in general, you can do whatever you want, right? You can take all the time you want. I think some people just think you should, be considerate. But that's just the thing.
Yeah. But there's also needs to be like some kind of, realistic expectations. Like, if you can't be tanking over like a $40 decision to like a $300 pot,
right?
And it's like, so things like that. If you got a big decision or a kind of a complicated decision, take your time, think it through. Make the best decision possible to you. But if it's just a marginal spot, like, or you haven't even looked at your cards and you're just scanning the table for X amount of time, so you don't want to give away some kind of timing tell. Put that noise aside.
Timing tells are nonsense as far as I'm concerned, because you could fold fast and always fold fast and not give a timing tell, right? Under that kind of argument.
Well, there's some merit to timing tells for sure. But yes, a crap hand, you're just going to look and fold like pretty quickly. But I'm saying there's like people that will sit there and they want to wait for 15 seconds before they even look at their cards. Or they're going to look at their cards and look for 15 seconds, like that kind of stuff's a little overrated. But there are timing tells, because you think about like how long it takes you to recognize you have aces, how long for you to recognize you have 7 deuce offsuit. Takes a little bit longer to recognize.
Oh, right, okay.
Jack
So in that sense,
suited,
I mean, like, I guess I'm talking about like in a spot where you're deciding whether to fold or raise. Maybe your initial action, but I think often what happens is like sometimes you'll raise and then somebody will raise back, and then that's where you're just like, okay, you know what you're gonna do, right? Like most people will raise with some idea of what their plan is when they get 3-bet, right? Like,
all right, so it looks like Samantha raises on hijack here. Shane is calling.
John folds, Shane calls on the button.
And we bring the blinds along with us.
Antonio hits pretty much the flop he wants and bets it, yeah, with just a nut low. But this is a spot where you have an unconventional nut low. You're acting first, so your hand could be anything. You're going to get called by a wide variety of hands, I think. We don't really know what Samantha has, but I mean, I'm surprised. I'm a little surprised that Shane called. But this is like the rabbit hole you can go down in Omaha, right?
Right.
It looks like
and this is
he
actually
got 4 bets, so never mind. Shane folded, but I think he put 1 bet in before he folded.
Yeah, I believe I saw that.
And then Antonio re-raised,
and then got
nut
3
low,
bet
and then ended up making the bottom end of a straight with the nut low. Samantha flips over ace something. Let's see. I'm assuming Antonio is scooping this pot because he has a 6 high straight and nut low. And all I've seen from Samantha's hand is an ace. Oh, she had aces. 2500 green from. That's just sometimes people just sit with big stacks. People do that in limit games.
Yeah.
You just buy in for whatever. Maybe he was playing. Some people come here early because like maybe traffic is weird. So maybe he was playing no limit and had that all in front of him.
I did see him color up before, And the other thing is, especially this game, you have to be very aware of where your card reader is. And sometimes you don't have a lot of room, if you're like starting to build a really big stack. And so you want to be comfortable overall. So one, to be able to put your cards on the card reader, but also to where you can like actually see them. Like some people you kind of see already, like C5 Dave. He puts his off to the left, so he's kind of more used to just keeping his cards more off to the right. Antonio keeps it a little bit more off to the left in front of him. But so it just depends on where people keep their stack. In this game, since it is a live stream, if you keep it more in the center, that's going to interfere with your ability to get your cards on the reader. So it's kind of smart then to keep your stack a little bit smaller in chip wise.
Yeah, I agree. This is not officially a measuring contest. I'm not trying to take a measuring contest. But some people are very, maybe not superstitious, or maybe they are superstitious, but ritualistic about what they do when they're at the table, how many chips you buy in.
And then there's, I think the only time it really matters is, and it's hard, it doesn't really matter too much in, like, say, a limit game. But if you see somebody that colors up chips with the intention of not using them, like, these are my chips that I'm going to keep, like, this is my profit, I'll play with these chips over here, and now you're like, oh, well, obviously they don't want to go above, X amount of dollars,
right,
so now I can kind of, force them off a lot of hands.
Push them around a little bit, yeah.
I don't think that's what's going on here, but that's kind of the only time that you can really read into somebody coloring up chips and, and do something with it.
Alright, so John's gonna bet so low, but he's been pretty eager to get money in with like 6 and 7 high flush draws.
Right.
So maybe that's just he knows where he's at, or he figures this is a board that misses a lot of like high-low type things because you're only having a low draw on the turn, not a made low. Yeah, the chat's all over the place tonight. Any money. So somebody came in and said this was boring. You know, I think poker has a tough time translating to streams, but I think you find your entertainment, if you don't find it from the playing, maybe you find it from interacting with the chat,
right?
You know, the community that's around.
Yeah, and there's actually a ton of great people in the chat. You know, one of the reasons that kind of drew me into over here was, you know, like being able to BS with everybody in chat, you know, having a really good time. And it's like, there's not too many things you can just sit out in your living room, you know, and really feel like you're in a part of a community and like having some good laughs. And the point where, you know, maybe you're just sitting there, you know, your family's around you, you just start laughing, and they kind of look at you like, what are you doing right now? But it's
Stare
okay.
at his phone laughing at some cat video on YouTube. Excuse me. I think I'm getting too warm. Taking my shirt off, guys.
Oh boy, somebody cue Nelly.
Yeah, hang on. I know there's a few people out there that are real excited about this. Wow, 3 kings.
Yes, and it's good fold.
In honor of Christmas, we're going to see a flop with 3 kings. I like it. Yeah, Chad is a little rambunctious tonight. World is being turned upside down. Well, if you didn't know, YouTube basically owns everything already anyway, so...
Rick's saying that he's stopped playing poker, and I call BS on that. Rick, get back into playing poker.
Oh,
we need you in the game.
We need you in the game. Is that because he's a spot, or because you just enjoy playing with him?
Rick is great to have at the table. He's, you know, a lot of fun. Like, he's one of those people that gets it. When you're at the table, you talk, you have fun, you create a good atmosphere, you know, and Rick's great with that.
Oh, no one wanted to disinfect the booth. She was sick. That wasn't a shot at Veronica. She's not feeling well. But I guess out of context, that sounds really, really great.
Alright. So Antonio flops top set here.
Yeah, but you're not loving it, really. I mean, I guess you're not hating it, but the turn is going to do a lot for how he's going to proceed. The turn doesn't help him at all. In fact, well, I guess he's still technically in the lead.
Diamonds get there, you know, but
it's gonna be really hard for him.
Yeah, but I think the difference between this game and PLO, and maybe I'm way off base, is I think you can get away with betting the queens there on the flop because your repercussions are like smaller, you know, because you're not gonna get like repop behind you with a monster draw where you might have to fold it.
Yeah, you're not going to fold, but at the same time, you want to try to save bets. So I don't know that you're necessarily always betting or always checking. No. But, you know, you want to you want to get max value when you have the best hand, right? So you have a good hand. You want to get value from the draws. But if you bet and it gets raised and then there's a diamond, now you got to, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, I think there's room for both plays.
Right. But I think, like you said, you're not doing anything 100% of the time, but what I wonder is, can you bet more often in a limit game with that top set and that coordinated board versus on a PLO game where maybe you have to check much more often because of the likelihood of getting repotted behind?
Well, in PLO, you know, it's not unusual for you to have to make a decision for your whole stack if you're just betting on what you hit the flop, you know? So that's where, like in PLO, you want redraws, just like in any Omaha game, you want something like more than just a made hand if you can get it, right? With you know, with a set of queens, they didn't really have anywhere to go from there.
Right.
You know, the best case scenario for him
for the board to pair
was that, you know, a scary board where diamonds come and now like a made straight doesn't feel great, all those kinds of things. So Samantha's 3-betting, which I like to see, and I think she's one of the only people who is, if she's entering a hand when it gets to her, regardless of the previous action, she's raising. I don't think we've seen her limp too much. She's in the big blind, so all she has to do is call or check. She could have aces here, like the last time she did this, she had aces. I would say there's a chance, based on very small sample size, that Samantha might be of the mind that if you have aces pre-flop, you're raising.
Right.
And high-low, I don't necessarily think you don't have to do that. In fact, it's probably not good to do that.
Right.
I'm not saying that's if she has aces. I don't know what she has, but
well, she has a hand, that she's
could be aces
three bets
with a
out of the
low
big
card.
blind, and you got to think that's a small range of hands that she's going to do that with, and then leading this multi-way. Maybe like ace 3 something.
Now she just check called, so she leads. So maybe she's got a 6. Maybe she's got. Yeah, I don't think she would lead with aces here in this spot. So my guess would be that she has something like ace 3, 6, ace 8. I wouldn't be surprised if she had both a 3 and a 6. Maybe this is like a bluff kind of thing, but I don't know that that's going to be a thing.
And we'll see if we get lucky enough to see a hand here.
Well, I guess we're not going to see. She might show because Brandon is showing his hand that he folded. But not showing. There you go.
No.
Maybe she didn't. Well, it's a strange spot in Omaha. Sometimes I think when the river bricks really hard, like no draws get there, it's easy, or it might be easier to take down a pot with the bet.
Yep, and just what we were talking about a little bit ago, we got Chris Moneymaker here, 3 days in January. We got January 3rd, 4th, 5th, and we're just going to keep him, I think, tied up in the booth the entire time.
Bowl season at Stones, January 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yep. And so he'll be in the booth while we're streaming, and when we're not streaming, he's going to be in the games. Come down.
If you're near Stones and you can't make it onto the stream or whatever, and you want to say hi to Chris, I'm pretty sure he will definitely say hi to you back.
Absolutely. I've met him a couple times now. That's one of the great things about coming here is you meet a lot of people from the industry, and he's always been super nice, super personable. You can approach him and have good conversations with him. Really good guy. Really looking forward to having him back in the building.
Yeah, Chris is great. I did a lot of. He was an ambassador for HPO, Hollywood Poker Open.
Okay.
They had that for like 4 years or something. I did 1 season of that, and are we getting swag? I'm getting 1 season of that, and yeah, it's pretty. Excuse me, I did 1 season of that. I got to know him a little bit better, and so I've seen him around a bunch. Super nice guy. Definitely loves to play. I think that's one of the interesting things for poker players. They have they're coming to do whatever their business is, right? They're playing poker, but they're also accommodating fans who ask them, it's like imagine going to play basketball against people who are asking you for your autograph, right? Which doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, you're just cool
dynamic.
Things.
Now, one other thing that is cool about that week, besides having Chris,
I saw this shirt. I thought they were giving me this shirt. I want this shirt.
We're giving away a lot of free merchandise.
Lance, give me a shirt.
And
give this away to me.
Yep, some Stones Live shirts. We're gonna have Stones Live hats, some card protectors that say "See you on the stream."
I'm not a big fan of card protectors, but all right.
There's gonna be
a T-shirt. Looks real soft too. Hang on, I'm gonna just put that in my pocket. It's like thank you very much. Nightbot.
So it's gonna have a lot of giveaways during that week. So it's, come watch watch with Chris Moneymaker, but also for your chance to get a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Well, also a mix of games that week. 25-50 no limit, which my guess is probably filled already, but maybe maybe there's a short list, and if that's something you're interested in doing, maybe there'll be a second game. It's not unheard of. It wouldn't be that weird. To have a feeder game going.
Right, and those games always attract a lot of good action. So even if you're not on the stream itself, all the surrounding games are really worth playing. And just from a watching standpoint, you're going to have some really, really high-level players in that game. So it's going to be some pretty good stuff.
I think you're going to get some wild people in that game too. I think at any stakes, you have people who are, trying to play the best, and then you have people who are just having fun.
Yep.
Yeah, at any stakes.
Oh, and JFK says the 25-50 They have 2 full games of it already.
Oh, already 2 full games. So even if you can't get on the stream, there's going to be 2 full 25-50 games here at Stones. It's going to be wild. I think if you want to get in on those games, maybe this is the time where you want to take your shot. Yep. Who knows? Like, you might run into a situation where more people are willing to go up in stakes because they want to be on the stream or because they want to play against a certain lineup, and maybe it's a good time to take a shot. Right. If that's the kind of thing you're doing. Plus, you're not going to be steadily playing 10 or 25-50 no limit, at least not at Stones. Right. It's a occasional type thing. So who knows? That could be really fun.
It's pretty hard to find that game going
anywhere. Right.
You got to go to a few places.
Maybe like Bay 101 or something. Maybe they have games like that.
Yeah, and I think even then it kind of depends.
Probably not all the time.
Yeah, the nature once you get that high is any place that can run that just runs the other games so deep, that you end up just having like deeper like 5-5, 5-10.
Because the guys who play 25-50 will play like 5-10.
Right.
And keep yeah, man, chat is like explosions.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, Wupbright. Can we find out what happened there? I don't know. Something went down. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat other than it's going down.
All right, so Wupbright, you're taking off. Have a good night if you are. And Wupbright was actually supposed to be on the alternate list for this game and ended up just having some work complications get in the way. But it would have been really good to have him on the table, or even if he wasn't on the table, I'm sure we could have pulled him into the booth and harassed him a little bit.
Pull him into the booth. You mean ask him about his opinion on hands and in-depth commentary? We didn't harass. No, we don't harass people in this booth.
I think we could harass Wupbright. I think he can handle it.
Yeah, so anyways, 25, or excuse me, we've been talking about 25-50 so much that I almost said it's 25-50. It's 2040, Omaha 8 or better. We're 1 hour into the stream tonight and got 2 more hours left of 08. And yeah, Gene's limping up in there with...
so what do you think about, limping early position with a 3-suited hand?
Not a fan. But, sometimes people want to play.
Right.
It wouldn't be the first time. It may not be. It's probably not. Oh, I don't know why I keep saying this. It's not optimal.
Right.
But if the table keeps telling you that you can see a flop for 1 bet regardless of whatever position you're playing in, and you want to play your hand post flop, why not?
Right. See if you can't flop something amazing and build a pot.
I mean, if it's just going to continually go off for one bet.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing, nobody's being punished, nobody's really raising, so then it really just where it becomes an issue is if you're putting that 1 bet in and then folding, so you're not even seeing the flop, you're not really even given a chance, then you're just kind of letting the money on fire.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if the table seems to at this point have agreed that you can see the flop for 1 bet. Samantha is definitely one of the players that is putting pressure on when she's in position. It hasn't worked out great for her yet in terms of getting there with the big hands that she's raising with, or at least not like scooping a big pot. But that's the general idea. When you have a hand that's capable of scooping, you want to try to pump as much money into the pot, even pre-flop as it is. You don't want to wait. If you're going to flop a wheel with a nut flush redraw or something, you don't want to limp when you could just have a thing. Yeah, so, yeah.
And we see Brandon having a little bit of dinner. Looks like maybe a steak or something.
Oh, he didn't go with the salad.
I'm just not sure if he knows about the salad run good.
Yeah, this is some new faces out here. So
right. Well, and maybe it doesn't translate over to Omaha, 8 or better. I don't know. These are things we gotta look into.
I ate a salad. It didn't transfer to PLO8.
But so eat it in the booth.
Yeah, so this is a nice spot where I think it's really unique though. So Shane limped the button, Antonio raised, and Samantha 3-bet, and then Shane 4-bet. which I actually, as much as Jake hates back raising, when it's been 3 bets to you, I think capping, because Antonio's probably going to cap.
Right.
You're on the button, go for it.
And this is a pretty good flop for Shane.
Amazing flop for Shane.
For deciding to just go ahead and, go with it. And Gene's going to follow through, looks like, with
Antonio's got a piece there. Gene now has 2 pair with a bad low and 2 pair and the second flush draw. He's gonna bet. Calls around. I could see. Let's see. Antonio. He definitely doesn't love his spot. Yeah, second nut low. If he had ace deuce, maybe. I think if you're Gene and you think you have the best hand, check calling is fine here. It looks like it's going to check around.
Right.
Which
you're pretty happy if you're Gene to take that down, given that.
It's a nice brick on the river.
Right.
Sometimes you can get away with betting those bricks, because a lot of times people are seeing, if people just keep calling and calling and calling, they're kind of, sometimes they're just basically saying like, hey, I'm on a draw, or I'm not loving my hand. So when a card comes that couldn't possibly really hit their draw, unless they already had a set, which they would have been betting.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. So Antonio has the big stack. That's why he buys in with all those greens, because he wants to have the big stack, or be the chip leader, as some people might call it. But yeah, let's see. Speaking of playing if somebody wanted to play only 08 limit and pot limit, do you think they could do it at these stakes? What kind of break will they do 2040? I think you could totally. I don't know about 2040. I guess you could play 2040 08 for a living.
Yeah, sure.
If you were the problem you would run into trying to play these stakes full time is it'd be hard to find games.
Right.
In your area. If you're in LA or something, you could get a game like this 2040, 3060 all the time. There's not really a whole lot of middle ground. It basically goes from like 4.8 to 2040,
right,
or 30.60 even at some places. Pot limit, same idea. You can find some 1-2 games. Stone has some pretty steady 1-2 PLO games, and then and then like PLO 8 is sort of a rarity.
Yeah. PLA is something that's starting to kind of come around a little bit more often, but again, that's in kind of, bigger rooms, bigger areas. It's hard to find it outside of Vegas, LA.
In terms of bankroll, I mean, for 2040 Omaha, you probably want whatever the standard bankroll thing is. What it's like 100 big bets? No, wait, not.
It's usually 2,000, blinds.
Okay, so 2,000 big bets seems about reasonable. Omaha can be swingy, so you might want to have 4,000.
Right.
5,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing it professionally, the more of a bankroll you can have, the better. Clearly. But yeah. And it also just depends on, how much do you need, per month to kind of survive?
Right.
What is your monthly income?
In terms of playing 4-8, there's a 4-8 Omaha game going on at Stones all the time. I don't think that too many people are going to be winning enough money to live off in that game. It is a fun group of people. I play it a fair bit. I like the guys that play it, but in that situation, you might want to look into propping if you just want to play, and you're a break-even player, and you want to make or better than break-even player, but the prop will definitely help you beat the rake.
Right.
So anyway, David's gonna make it $40 with a really pretty hand.
And we see Samantha continue her trend of if she's coming in, she's raising.
So that's not a terrible spot for aces.
Right.
you know, he is acting first. Looks like he has not acted yet. Oh, he checks.
It's actually not a bad card for...
Checks, then bets. Again, yeah, I mean, this isn't a terrible spot.
Because you think, like, so what are the hands she's kind of raising with? I mean, we have seen her start to raise, like, some...
She might have some low hands.
Right.
She probably doesn't have aces because David has aces here, so I could see her having something like ace-deuce.
Well, and I was thinking, like, yeah, she could have, you know, a good high-low kind of hand, or she could have, you know, other high pair. So next comes to mind is king. So once that turn rolls off a king, that now eliminates, you know, like, you know, these pocket kings. Makes it seem unlikely you got king queen since you got blockers to that. But so I mean, overall, it's a decent card for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's no low, so fewer people are going to be drawing. It went check on the turn or on the flop. I don't know why, you know, like, it may not even be the best time to bet because, like, if Samantha flops a 3, right, she might check behind. She's going to check a lot of 3s behind so that she can raise you on the turn, or, you know, and get basically, she's getting the extra bet regardless. Like, you know, because if she checks behind and then you if you sorry, I'm trying to do the chat at the same time, but she checks behind you, she could easily have a 3, so leading when the king hits, the king is a scare hard if she has a 3,
right,
but so she might not raise, but she's probably not going to fold,
right,
a 3. Oh, I'm getting water. Sweet, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, stones. They make their own water. There's a mountain spring,
yes,
in the back.
They squeeze stones, yeah, together to get water.
Oh wait, do we? Yeah. So yeah. It's 2040-08, and now we got another huge, like, 5-way action. It looks like we're falling into lots of action, lots of players seeing a flop, which is, you know, somewhat interesting if you are watching the stream and you want to see some action, but it's not really action-packed because it's limping pre-flop, which is allowing 5 players to see the flop. It looks like Brandon is in an okay spot, but you really don't love. So you really don't love that board with a flush. You still don't love it. Samantha bets. She could have, you know, like a low, a 5, maybe ace king, but Brandon can't beat any of those things. But yeah, so here we go. Corey's a short stack. It doesn't really matter. Like, I mean, it's nice to see this is how much money is out there, so we can see the changes in the chip stacks. Right. But it's 2040 limit. You know, I believe 600 is probably gonna, unless it gets capped every street. 600 will get you to the river. So,
well, the great thing about this game, so this is a pretty big game, you know, 2040, but you can get into this game for very cheap. The minimum buy-in is $200. Now, $200 might not get you very far, yeah, but as far as, you know, if you want to just, you see a game like this, you want to take, you know, a quick crack and maybe catch a hot streak, $200 is a decent little investment for the upside.
Yeah, $200, 5 big bets in a limit game is probably not a good strategy. So if you actually do find this game and you want to play this, I would not suggest buying in for 5 big bets unless you really feel like gambling, because you can pretty much get 5 big bets in. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you were going to do a grind Omaha and that's what you wanted to do, you probably would want to move to, like, Vegas or some places in the Midwest. A lot of the places in the Midwest. I was in Oklahoma, and at like 2 a.m. on a Monday morning, or a Tuesday morning, after Labor Day, Tuesday morning, 2 a.m., we went from 0 people on the list to a full game of 1-2 PLO, PLO8.
Oh, wow.
So there are places in the country, in the world, where Omaha games can go off at any time of day. Some of them aren't some of them aren't great.
And you're gonna have some good cost of living down in some of the Midwest states.
Yeah, exactly.
Way better
I was
than
talking to
LA
this guy. It's a place called Thackerville, Oklahoma, like an hour outside of Dallas. And his rent was like $400 a month or something. Not even. That's what he made in a month, I think.
Wow.
Or maybe not a month. That sounds like it. He makes like $1,500 a month and is
like
living
$400.
fine. Yeah, exactly.
And probably it was like
whatever it was
house,
very low.
like,
But when you spend your whole life pretty much living in like California, Vegas is relatively cheap, but not that cheap. But when you live in California and you hear somebody tell you that their rent's only $400 a month, yeah. But then you're making an hour drive back and
bills out here are more than that.
So I mean, there are places where you can make it happen for cheaper. Obviously, if you're going to move to LA, you probably want to have more money. There's going to be a lot more games, a lot more ability to make money there.
Right, and the other thing is, then you look into like what taxes are going to do to your overhead, and do you want to go to a state that doesn't have income taxes while you're playing smaller?
Going to move to Des Moines to play at Omaha. I like it. Nothing else. Yeah, WinStar. I've been there a couple times. It's a huge place.
I hear it's like the biggest casino or something, right?
It's one of, if not the biggest casino. I think I've been to the top, like 2 of the top 10. The Venetian in Macau, which is like a giant casino. It is insane how big that casino is. And then WinStar is very big, but the Venetian's probably bigger. The Venetian, just like standing there next to it, it's just like, this is such a huge building.
So Samantha flops 3 kings with her jacks back up.
Wow, I hate college. That's a pretty great endorsement. Thanks, man. I mean, Poker Go is hit or miss, to be honest. I think if you like the lineup that's on the thing, then it'll be fun. But if you if you don't, sometimes you miss it.
So what is John calling with? He did limp from.
Okay, so he limped.
Let's see. I thought he was not.
He checks behind.
Aces.
He bet the flop.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, he had a king and 3-8. Wow. That makes sense because he checked behind.
And Samantha saying that was kind of a slow roll. I don't think Samantha.
It's kind of a small pot, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Some people think slow rolls are hilarious, and some people think slow rolls are very rude.
I think she thinks they're less hilarious, and I think there's now a higher chance of seat 1 being choked out with her scarf.
I watched the WSOP one and the Kevin Hart. Yeah, I had Poker Go for about 2 months of the year. The first month was to watch the Super High Roller Bowl, and I didn't even watch the entire thing. And then WSOP, and then cancel it and wait till next year.
Yeah.
They are doing a lot of like original programming and that kind of stuff. I've had some people who I'd be cheering for, like showing up on Poker After Dark that I haven't been able to watch just because I'm not paying for Poker Go. So Stones Live is free, always going to be free. We might not get. We're gonna have Chris Moneymaker. We might never get Antonio Esfandiari or Tom Dwan. But I'm going to make it my life's mission to get one of those 2 people on this show.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like this show's had some really high level people coming in.
Oh yeah, no, saying that, like I'm picking out 2 people.
Yeah.
Justin, JFK Stones is out there grinding to get all kinds of people in here. Kevin Martin, Jason Somerville, Annette Oberstein, right? Like, hey guys, now, right? As opposed to like 10 years ago at the height of her popularity when she's, But there's all kinds of stuff going on. The guys who tune in regularly know what's up. But if you're just tuning in for the first time, just hang out and get to know some of the guys in the chat. They're good guys. Good people. I'm not sure all of them are guys. Most of them I think are guys. But we have a few ladies out there.
Oh, there's lady crushers, man.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I just mean in the chat, like some rigs in the chat. I know Deb's out there sometimes. We had a couple, but let's see. I haven't seen today. The Brock. The Brock. Emergems hasn't been around for a minute. DDM Poker, trying to see who's up. John is the big winner with 470. Omaha is interesting because you're not going to see huge swings necessarily, but in a 3-hour session, you scoop a couple pots, they can get pretty big.
Yeah.
You scoop like a 3-4-way pot.
Oh yeah, they get real big.
That's pretty huge. I mean, the money's not splashing around as much as it might be in like 4-8, but if you raise pre, it gets 3-bet. You know, you put in like 2 bets on the flop, 2 bets on the turn, maybe 2 bets on the river. That's, you know, 3 ways. That's gonna be huge.
Yeah, it goes to M, you know, saying that the catch a hot streak hasn't worked out for him too well in the past. I think part of the strategy of the catch a hot streak is knowing when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to really work on that part of your game, Ghost.
I don't know. I've seen some people play Omaha successfully, where just if you just play really aggressive, and you know that people,
right.
There's a lot of draws out there that miss.
Right.
I've played some 4-8 games like where it's like 5 or 6 people just call. The river is a brick. I bet I have nothing, and everybody just folds. They're almost like folding before they know the the hand is done. You know, it doesn't always work out, but I mean that kind of thing where you're getting like $200 for $8. Is not
hard to beat.
It only has to work what, like 12 times, 14 times.
Yeah, 1 out of 14.
1 out of 14 times. So yeah. All right. So Shane has an alright hand. From the small blind. A suited ace is always nice, especially with the big kicker.
Right.
The 9's kind of like a turd, but you know, you're like, you can make some straights with your king, and
you're
you have
hoping to see a deuce out there. Anytime you got the ace-3, you're just rooting for a deuce to pop off.
Yeah, this it was a pretty decent flop in terms of Shane holding the low, and a terrible turn.
Right.
But let's see what Antonio bets. Antonio could have all kinds of things here, like a flush draw,
with like ace
2
4
pair or something. I mean, like the best possible hand would be like ace 4. I don't know that he necessarily has ace 4. I could see him having something like. Wow, there you go.
We have
aces.
Yeah.
With ace 5, that's a pretty good low draw.
And we've definitely seen him lead out with like a unconventional nut low, like before, like when he had the 2-3 or 3-4 hand.
Now see, I think he should check call here. Although betting here with the club blocker isn't a bad idea. I don't know. Betting is, if you're gonna fold when you get raised, isn't bad. Right. Check calling's probably better. Does that make sense? Like he didn't get raised because he holds the nut blocker.
Yeah.
But
and Corey is going to take the high with the flush. Antonio take the low with the ace 5.
I guess actually you're betting because you have the nut blocker and you have a really solid low, second nut low. So I take it back. I think that's why you're check calling.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like betting.
Yeah, I think,
Because you don't want to call a raise and be beaten both ways, because you could easily be beaten both ways.
Right.
A bad flush.
Are you going to fold if they raise you? Like,
well, that's the thing. Like, if you're betting there with the intention of folding if you get raised, then and you're actually going to do it, then fine, bet there, I guess. But most people don't, right?
Right.
I don't know. If you have the nut low, yeah, sure, bet.
Right.
If you have the second nut low, I think, and then I don't know. If there's more people in the pot and you're able, that's a spot where maybe you could raise, like check raise, because a lot of people are going to call with a worse than the nut flush there.
Right.
I mean, just, you could play that in different ways. I think probably the most profitable way. Check raise might be kind of a fun way to play that hand. With you have second nut low with the nut blocker.
Looks like he's going to fold some hands. They got to be pretty disciplined.
But it's hard to get somebody to fold to 1 bet when there's 2 people. Your head's up to the river, 2 people. Because a lot of limit is like, I'm going to check call. Like I'm check calling regardless, right? Like when a lot of times you're checking with 100% intention to call. Like you're not
right.
You might be hoping they check behind, but you're never folding. So it's like 1 extra bet you know, when you're betting, you're like, okay, I know that I'll call 2 bets. You know, and it's like if I get raised here, I'm fine with that. Really get angry at slow rolls, but come on, Mr. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing, cash game habit maybe, where people just don't show their hands. It's not really conducive to a Omaha game sometimes if you get multiple people.
I just know, you know, if you're going to slow roll me, you've opened up the door, now I'm going to slow roll you, and chances are I'm going to be able to do that in a really big pot.
The game is the game.
Yes, because if money's getting big, I generally like my
There's one of the guys in the 4-8 game always like, it's kind of slow rolling, and it's just like, just show your hand, like, but it happens so often. It's just like
you just call him like slow roll Tim or something like that,
and then he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm losing, and it's like, you have like a full house, like a full house, and I guess you know, I sometimes forget that some people aren't as like, don't play as much or haven't seen as much.
Well, and I think, you know, then that's an instance where I really do think that players are kind of responsible for upholding the integrity of the game and kind of running the game.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, as a player, then you need to kind of call that out and be like, hey, if it's you know, a very unknown, you know, player just doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't understand the consequences of his action.
You can accidentally slow roll a lot, but when
not really appropriate, you just turn your hand over. You know, but if it's someone that just likes to do it as their form of entertainment, I mean, getting mad about it's going to do nothing, so you just slow roll them back.
Samantha raises with a pretty solid hand, but I don't. Okay, I say solid hand. She's got a great hand for the high.
Right.
She doesn't have a great hand for the low. She's going to end up losing a lot of these hands because.
You mean a 7-6 low isn't an amazing low?
It's not great. I mean, obviously we see that Ace 5 is currently the best. Shane has a pair with a gutter wheel draw. I mean, these are like not necessarily loose, but kind of loose-ish moves here.
And I'm just never in love with the fact if I have 3 of any suit, you know, because
the cool part though is that by raising on the flop, Samantha gives herself the ability, obviously in this case, Gene has a full house, but that's a nice like brick kind of river. Right. It's not really a brick river because a lot of people will play 2 pair on these weird rainbow boards. But it could be like a brickish river. Something like if another 4 popped off or something, you raised 3 or on the flop, it might look like you have a set, now you have a full house. Raising on the flop gives you a chance to maybe like bluff the river.
Right.
Based on that. So that's not too bad, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, right. Nice freaking Barca. Well, thanks for tuning in. I love that people tune in even if it's a game they don't play, which, I mean, maybe there's no hope that Rick will ever come to the light side.
But you think about it, like, what a great opportunity for someone to kind of learn a game that they don't know.
Sure.
You know, because, you know, sure, you've always heard about, you know, these games, and maybe you see it, you know, in your casino as you're going to your own.
Now come and watch it.
So now you actually kind of get introduced to it, you know, get a little bit of idea of, hey, that's a good hand, maybe that's not such a good hand, and now you feel a little more confident when you go and check it out on your own time.
Gene's rocking the ace deuce 4-8. Antonio's got aces again. I mean, this time not as great because he had a 5 last time, but he's got a suited aces. And now he's open-ended. So Antonio's probably going to push this a little bit on a rainbow board.
Yeah, and he's got to think, you know, because he has the aces, that there might be less combination of people that are like in love with their low draws.
True. Yeah.
You know, so he might be able to bluff someone off of, you know, of a, like, say, deuce 3 low draw that might fold.
That's one of my favorite hip hop songs. I'm in love with the low draw, right? Isn't that how it goes? Right? Oh, I don't even know the tune actually. Looks like not a great turn card for Antonio.
And this is where we point out that Antonio does not have
straight. Yeah. Or he couldn't. He's still open-ended. He's like double open-ended.
He does not have 2 pair.
It'll be interesting. Like John 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't like it really because you're not really drawing to the nuts either way. So as a standard rule, I think when you go into Omaha, try not to be playing like the middle and try to be playing the nuts one way or the other. You don't want, well, a lot of people will just eliminate these like 7, 8, 4, 5, like 6 type hands from their range because, you know, you're making a 6 high straight or an 8 high straight. Probably 6 high straight's not bad because you have a pretty good low too. But 8 high straight is not going to be too great.
You don't want to have an 8 high straight with a 6 high low. You know, like,
so it looks like
set of 5s for Corey.
Gets some money on that high, and Gene's going to get the low. 200 must be working at Walmart. What? You mean the minimum? The minimum buyout? What's that? I don't get that.
It's hard to jump right into the middle of the chat and
exactly.
Figure out what's going on because without context, most of this stuff is just out there.
That's true.
And with context, most of the stuff is definitely out there.
Yeah.
Which is one of the great things about coming here and messing around in the chat. I mean, you just never know where the conversation is going to lead you that day. And
yeah, true. I will say, like a lot of people, the Twitch mods, as far as I know, most of them are sort of like volunteers, or they're just fans of the chat that in every, like, I watch a lot of stuff on Twitch, a lot of people playing video games, and it's a lot of times just fans. Sometimes that might turn into some kind of paying job, but most of the time it's people here helping to like curate a community, kind of like in a Wikipedia type sense, where it's, and then so I like that. It's kind of fun.
And the nice thing is here is you see, just look at the chat and you look how many swords you see. Those are all the mods, and so they're all
Pocket Abe's mods for the money. Who doesn't? I mean, such a glorious life.
Yeah, but he spends all that money on dance.
Money and he's in love with the low draw.
But all the mods are very active in communicating and talking. And
hold on, John flops quads and a boat.
That is a good hand.
This is a fun spot. I mean, maybe a fun spot. I don't hate betting here because a lot of times people, like with the spade draw, like people will stick in there. Maybe there's 9s when the spades get there, so maybe Gene's going to be tempted to do.
But the great thing about this, so if you're going to flop quads, you want this kind of quads on what will be a very connected board, because you're going to have a lot of high straights, a lot of spades, coming on. You don't want to flop like quad 4s, because it's going to be hard to get a lot of various types of hands to continue on.
So Gene bet 40, and then John leads out. So checking the turn may have gotten him an extra bet because maybe Gene checks behind. In this particular case, Gene would probably call the river.
Yep.
So maybe... and Gene's probably going to call the turn too, so I think he probably made about as many bets as he would have made had he just bet the turn. Against a lot of hands, the spade draw is the draw that gets there, so if you're going to check and you're going to raise, like you're not going to get called by a lot of things, so betting and calling and betting and calling, you get the same amount of bets as you do. He almost sacrificed the bet because if Gene doesn't bet, then you're kind of a disaster. Then you're gonna lose it. Yeah. So I think betting the turn. If you're gonna bet the flop, you want to bet the turn because it you say, okay, I have a flush draw, I'm going to bet the flush draw, when it gets there, whatever kind of story you want to tell.
Especially when a big draw gets there.
Because you can't check raise now. I mean, you can check raise, but you're not going to get called very often.
Right.
Or ever, right? Like, Gene is probably, because he's played Omaha for so many years, according to you.
A number of years.
A number of years. We didn't say what number of years. It could be a low number. A prime number of years. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so I mean, that's what I like a lot about limit games, is that idea, like, okay, like, let me figure out, it's almost like, I don't know, a lot of it's maybe a little bit of like tic-tac-toe kind of stuff, but trying to get bets however you can is how you should be playing.
I definitely look at limit as more of a science. It's kind of like, just like you're saying, it's about when do you try to save a bet, when do you try to get that extra bet, how do you do it, and then like the no limits and pot limits are a little bit more of an art, in like playing.
Here's a situation we talked about before where Corey has only the nut low draw. It obviously, like, action came to him. He called on the button. This is like 5 ways. So having the nut low draw in a 5-way pot is great. You just want to keep coming along. He made the nut low. He's in a good spot. This will be really neat if it goes Samantha bets. And Antonio, what does Antonio have? He's king. He's going to fold because he doesn't have anything. Gene calls. Another call. You got to raise here.
Right.
And he didn't raise.
See, but this is an instance where you can actually drive a low hand because there's not going to be many ace fours.
Well, okay.
So if you found yourself in with an ace 4 low, and then you flop the 2-3 to give you now the nut low,
right?
You got to feel pretty comfortable that you're not going to get quartered.
Right. And no one raised before him. So the only person who could theoretically have the nut low would be Samantha.
Right.
Right? Because the other people would I feel like a lot of people raised the nut low. But when you're the last to act, this is a spot where you could pick up 2 more bets, or I guess 1 more bet, because you're chopping the high with someone there. Or if sometimes people get really stubborn, so you just like raise, Samantha raises, and those 2 guys call again,
right?
And then you raise again, and then it's like.
Well, and the great thing about being on the button is you put a lot of pressure on people too. So if you just decide you're just going to keep barreling, you can even just take down the whole thing, with just kind of forcing people to fold like marginal like made hands that would have taken the high.
And sometimes, based on the action or whatever, you could consider raising the flop when you have the nut low draw.
Yeah, I actually think that multi-way, like again with kind of an unconventional nut low, I think it's a very merited point that you can do that.
But yeah, that's kind of like being on the button with the nut low is a pretty good spot to be in. Sure. If you're going to be stuck with only holding the nut low and no chance to scoop, no chance for the high, you want to be in a 4-way pot on the button.
Yes. Especially with, like, again, not an ace deuce ace 3 in that low.
Is there a brand of mixed nuts that isn't 85% peanuts? Probably not. Planters is like probably one of the first people to make the mixed nuts. And they got a lot of peanuts.
They do.
Their mascot is a peanut, so there's definitely a peanut bias going on there with the planters.
See, so David Rivers 2 pair. Does anybody have anything else?
5-7 low. Samantha with a pair and a 5-7 low. Did she bet? She bet too.
Wow.
So cool. I like. She's aggressive. Yeah, exactly. This chance. Look, we're all encompassing the nuts, the non-nuts, the 5-7 low, which is not the nuts. I like how at the exact same time they showed the one-day tournament. All right. Yes. Actually, this is
so again, this tournament looks awesome. I'm going to try to make it out here Sunday, January 14th, 3 p.m. Bring your $150. It's a 5K guaranteed, and it's going to just be amazing. It's going to be Omaha high-low. So what we're playing tonight, just in tournament format.
Nice and quick,
again,
fun.
You can buy in for the first 4 levels, and then until the end of the break. Yep. And then there's going to be 20 minutes, and then after the break, it's going to be 25 minutes until the end. But there's going to be just a real fun tournament to play. Again, no bad attitude.
Look, all Omaha tournaments are fun to play.
They really are. They really are.
I mean, what added to the fun last time was probably that it was like Friday night at 7 o'clock. But But yeah, Sunday at 3 is very similar to Friday
Sunday
at 7.
Sunday, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and the other thing is, most of the people that are going to be playing are going to be pretty terrible because nobody plays the game, not in tournament format.
Oh, hey.
So we can all have a great time, and you aren't going to feel like you have no chance. You put your money in, and you feel, and you're going to have a chance to win. Like there's going to be a lot of times in like some of these big no limit tournaments, you put your money in, and there's some just killers in that game, and you're going to have to run kind of lucky. But in this game, everybody's kind of on equal footing. There's not a huge skill gap.
Oh wow! This is one of the reasons why you raise pre-flop. People are going to call 2 bets pre with Queen 10-7, which is a fine hand, I guess, if you want to see a flop. But you really want to hammer your low hands here. And what's interesting is Samantha, who also has a wheel, is going to raise. So Corey and Samantha might kill their own action here. Although that's not a board most people will continue on. If Shane's not continuing with 2 pair, which he shouldn't, then he's probably... Some people might argue that you don't want to go too crazy with... your big hands early because you're scaring people off.
Right.
But this is a great spot for Corey because now you're free rolling. Wow, wait a minute. She folded?
She folded the wheel.
That must be wrong because I can't imagine she's gonna fold the wheel to 1 bet.
Right.
So maybe it got to the river, we didn't see it.
It could be, maybe a card misread or
she just a bet a different hand. Because you're not going to fold a wheel there.
Right.
I mean, folding wheel there says that you think, especially on the turn, right, you already put enough money in there where I don't think you're going to I don't know. All right, well, moving on, because I'm pretty sure that was buggered. That was a bugged hand. If not, it would be the most I guess disciplined fold because you have the wheel but you have no redraw, but that's the kind of thing where in PL08 if you might not play. I mean you're probably never folding wheel, but maybe there's a scenario where the pot's so big and this guy's going so nuts, but I still think heads up you're never gonna fold.
Right.
So
right.
So never mind. I take it back. Corey found himself in a pot with King, Queen, 9-8, all spades. Put himself in an interesting
looking for that
spot.
straight flush.
Yeah.
He just needs Jack 10 of spades to come roll off.
Yeah, that'd be great. I want to see a straight flush as much as he wants to see a straight flush. So. Let's see.
John and Antonio, they pretty much have all the clubs mopped up.
Yeah. So what's Shane getting in there with a set? Okay. I mean, 2 bets on the flop with the set. You don't love it. The king is a very bad card for you if you have a set. At least it's not a club, so he's thinking that's not too bad. Shane's gonna find himself in a weird spot here though because. Okay, so Antonio's going to bet his king high flush draw with an open-ended straight draw and 2 pairs. So Antonio has is all over this board. There's not going to be a low. He's drawing huge for the high. Obviously, he doesn't have the nut flush, but
right.
He's got 2 pair, a straight draw, and a flush draw.
Yeah, has a good chance of it being good.
And it gets there. And now he's going to fire again. Now, Shane, I don't know how stoked. You're never calling here. If you're
no.
Well, okay. I won't say never calling here. Shane might find a way to call here. I don't think he should. I think this is a pretty easy fold. I think you might have been able to fold on the turn.
Yeah,
low sets on these kind of board. Wow. Okay.
I mean, I know you want to have, you think about what kind of hands you want to have as bluff catchers, but, it's just a little, I think, sets here.
This is the kind of thing that gets you in trouble in Omaha 8 especially. If you're trying to set mine in Omaha, it's sometimes very difficult because sets aren't that great in Omaha.
It's hard
they're okay, but when everyone's trying to make a straight,
yes.
A wheel or whatever, it's a tough one.
Yeah. So make sure you come down, come watch Wednesday, January 3rd, 4th, 5th. Chris Moneymaker, he's going to be in the booth. We're hanging out. You know, and I think
Christopher Moneymaker.
So usually when you're in the booth, you cannot drink. But I'm pretty sure
the rules don't apply to people who have won the main event. Exactly. I guess like you're allowed to drink in the booth if you've won the main event.
And
so
I would fully expect him to drink in the booth.
So go win the main event.
Yes.
One of us. I don't play the main event.
So actually come down, hang out with Chris Moneymaker when he's in the booth. Just keep feeding him beers, shots, whatever
so that
you
when
want.
he gets out of the booth, he's just going to splash around a little bit.
Absolutely. And again, you know, we're giving away a ton of stuff. You know, hats, shirts, card protectors.
Yeah. Oh
you know,
no,
so it's going to be
it's a
lot of fun to watch.
Big moments. All right, so Samantha has changed it up a little bit. Didn't raise. Oh no, she did raise. Nice. I like it. This is how I think you should play, especially in 2040.
Right.
You know, you're thinking people are going to be a little bit more disciplined in their hand selection. You're not going to get called that light in general. Here, everybody has like a suited ace, apparently.
Yeah, I think the question is you just have to, you know, be aware of like how people are adjusting to you. You know, so if people are going to just start calling you down, you know, like any open, then that's fine. You just adjust by maybe dialing back the number of hands. You know, tighten up your range just a little bit. But still, you just want to. If you're entering a pot, it's always good to be entering for a raise. You know, especially if you're like first in.
Oh yeah, for sure. So this
it's a good turn for Samantha.
It's a good turn for Samantha, but see, she's also checking, which is, you know, I mean, it's a good turn for her, but it's also like she doesn't really have anything great yet.
Right. Queen of Hearts would have been a little better.
Yeah. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gene's got a straight. He doesn't have his nuts straight, but he does have the best straight of the people remaining in the hand. He also has a 2 for the low.
John has 7-5 straight.
John is going to have they have the same straight, and John has the low.
No, Gene does not have straight. No 5.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I was looking at John's side. So never mind. Gene's got the deuce. He doesn't even have the best low. He's going to get scooped. Actually, both get scooped. Shane called as well with a 3.
Yep, and John takes it all with the live.
6, yeah. Well, he had a deuce 5.
Right.
So he had wait, did he have deuce? Yeah, he had deuce 5.
Deuce 5.
Yeah. So he had yeah. Sorry. I was like, he didn't have a wheel, but yeah, deuce 5. It's always nice when you can get that like middling straight with the nut low, or not the nut low, but the best low.
Yes.
Sometimes you play that hand and you get beat both ways. You know, in this situation that didn't happen, but you gotta like that. I think anytime you scoop when you have a hand like that, you feel pretty good.
Definitely. You know, I mean, especially in this game, it's like anytime you scoop, you know, you feel good about it. Because most of the time, if you're taking the low end, there's a very high chance, you know, that it's going to be quartered, unless you have like some kind of unconventional low. Just again, by the nature of everybody playing ace deuce. David coming through with the ace king queen 4. Actually,
whatever. I mean, he's not gonna
for his hand.
It's not gonna fold the flop.
No.
Samantha's got a good spot here. You got the nut flush draw with the backdoor nut low draw. Some backup. You got like a gutter for a straight. You know, this should get kind of action-packed. Samantha's raising, which I don't
hate.
Yeah, and Shane's 3-bet.
Yep.
Is that right? Which I mean, in Shane's case, he's got backdoor clubs. He's got a pretty solid wrap for the high,
with, you know,
but on a flush board, draw. Like some of his outs are going to be hearts, and you don't really feel comfortable with hearts, especially in a situation where that's a really bad card for Samantha. I mean, she's definitely going to slow down, She might bet here because she feels like she's got a rep. I don't necessarily know if I like the bet here. Somebody could raise. In this case, David doesn't raise. He's checking Broadway again. I don't think he should. I don't know. At the very least, if you're not going to raise the turn, you want to bet the river.
Yeah. Is he worrying that somebody else is going to bet it, or?
Yeah, I guess he's hoping someone else is going to bet it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think if you're not going to bet the turn, you got to bet the river.
Right.
I almost think you should consider raising the river because, well, okay, maybe in some sense you want to raise the river. There's not going to be people reaching for a low, but maybe there's a flush draw out there. You don't want somebody who's going to bet the flush draw on the flop, bet the flush draw on the turn, and get there for cheap. You want them to put their money in before they miss their flush. So I don't know. I think at least one bet there could have been gotten, like whether you're betting the river or you're raising the turn.
I mean, even so, I think a lot of people fall into that. On the early position, they're going to check to hope that somebody else bets.
Yeah. But I mean, so many. This is like such a standard move now, right? Like,
and people are just
you talk about like the meta of poker. Like, so many people wanted to like check raise these big draws or whatever, and now it's like the check back is like such a strong move because not only does it just completely disguise what you have, but it also saves you from them
trapped.
Ever check raising you.
And then the other thing, so if you bet with the nuts, you're worried that maybe everyone's just going to see through me and fold. But there's going to be a lot of people that are just going to side call. If someone has a set, we've seen
people
sets already
sets.
called. People at 2 pair are likely to call. So there's a lot of hands that will call even if they're not happy about that, or if you check to them, they're just going to instant check behind.
So much of limit is like what you do on every single street.
Right.
Not just what you do on the river or what you do on the turn. I mean, obviously that is also taken into account in no limit. But I think it's a little bit more important here because if you're checking the flop,
you can't,
and then suddenly you're going ape shit on the turn, something happened. Like what changed between this and that?
But you can't make up for the missed value in limit like you can in no limit.
True, because you could always check and have somebody check behind and then bet bigger on the river. Here, your bet size is only going to be the 20 or the 40.
Right.
So, so much of it is like, again, I think Samantha's card reader has to be. Well, no, never mind. I take it back. I thought the low was already there. She had the nut low draw, but it didn't get there. And it looks
Antonio's going to scoop with a full house.
Yeah, not a bad river considering Brandon's little baby flush there. So Samantha's down to 370, 18 big bets. That's not even big bets. Is that big blinds or big bets?
Big bets.
370. No, 40. She's got 10 big bets. She's got 18 big blinds.
Right. Yeah, big blinds. Big blinds.
So that's in blinds, but so in general, I think most of the time you look at it in terms of big bets for these kind of games, for limit games. So she's got under 400, which is under 10 big bets, which is still fine. Like in a tournament, often you're sitting between like 6 and 12 big bets for the entire tournament. But this makes your decisions, if you're not trying to buy back in, or it makes each decision that more important, right? Because the more you lose, the less you can make, right? Like you want to be able, like when you finally get a good hand, like if you're making a wheel, you want to be pounding it and betting it the entire time. Like backwards Monopoly, I like it. All right, looks like some 3 action here again. John, ace king 7-4. Corey, ace queen 7 deuce. Gene, ace king 5-3. Gene's hand's not bad. I mean, you have a suited ace, or you have a suited king, so it's not ideal, but at the same time, you don't dislike it too much. You kind of hate flopping 2 pair here, 3 pair here. This is You can't be very excited about this.
Well, I'm never happy about bottom 2, especially.
Yeah. I mean, if I had bottom 2 and like a 4 with an ace or something, and I've got like a gutter or something, you know, like I have some other outs.
A little more going on with it.
You want to have like as much as possible going for you, as pretty much, I think, in every moment of Omaha. If you're ever in there just going nuts with just like a single pair, it's going to be like kind of scary and really hard to win.
Anthony coloring up. I mean, I would say also at this point, Anthony's probably reaching a point where he can just start adding some hundreds there. Yeah, unless he
maybe leaving. It's like standing up. Maybe he's like stretching.
He seems to get to a point where he has, 500 and or 1,000 in red, and then racks up 500.
Oh, okay. So that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just to try to give himself some more room. He's making too much money. Needs someone to help him make his stack smaller. But his stack smaller physically, not actually like losing any chips. So yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, I'm not sure if you guys know, thanks to the title, it's 2040 Omaha 8 or better. That's high-low. You're looking for the best 5-card high hand, best 5-card low hand, with 5 cards below an 8. If there's no low, then the high takes the whole pot. If there is a low, then the high and the low split. So it's it may be, well, okay, maybe not the greatest. It's a great game, and if you've never played it, it's definitely worth tuning in and checking this out for the next hour.
Definitely a good game.
See, Antonio did something a lot of people haven't been doing, and that's just like folding a big pocket pair pre-flop because he's out of position. He doesn't really have any like redraws. He has like a pretty bad hand other than like queens. Here at least, Brandon's hand's not great, but he has a little bit more going on in terms of like the connectivity of his hand. Jack, 9-8,
right.
Suited Jack. You don't love that flop.
This is a pretty good flop for David.
Pretty good. Pretty good is might be an understatement. Flopping a straight, and now the redraw to the
yes, he has the nut
flush.
With.
He already has a wheel now.
And what he's asking right now is, can they play pot limit for this hand?
Yeah. Can we up the stakes? Doesn't look like.
And just the unfortunate thing, nobody really had much to continue on with. I mean, this happens when you kind of hog the board so much.
Yeah, when you smash a flop like that, it's tough for anyone else to have anything. That's why so many people do check the flop with their big hands. But it's so often like you're checking your flop with your big hand, and then you're raising, and then the next time you're leading out, or raising, and it's just like, wow, like, okay, we get it. Like, you're not really disguising anything there. I mean, how often does somebody check raise the flop and then lead turn and river, and that's a bluff?
Right. I mean, maybe the river's a bluff,
right.
Because they just bricked out on their monster combo draw.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, outside of that.
Yeah.
We keep trying to get Tooth Doctor to fly out and play on some streams.
Oh, yeah?
Good player.
Where's he from?
I think Cincinnati. In that area.
All right. I mean, what is that, like a 4-hour, 20-minute flight or something?
Something like that, But he loves the Omaha games, the high-low variants, so this is kind of right up his alley.
Good man. So our adventurers have decided to see the flop with a bunch of like PLO high-ish hands.
And Antonio, pretty much the only person with low cards, and just decides to hit all of his twos.
All of the twos. So far, it's still in the lead, so...
What was the turn there? I didn't quite see it.
I think it was a 3.
Yeah, so he has a boat. And Corey...
A baby boat.
Is Corey just going to continue on, just hope that his jacks are good?
Columbus, but there are direct flights. I've been to Columbus once. Well, I guess technically I was in like Dublin, which we like flew into Columbus. And...
Tooth Doctor, you come out, I'll buy you some beers.
Somebody's buying some beers.
Yeah. Beers will be
they'll
bought.
Just be beers.
But we might go up to Chico and get, like the
oh man,
the 30 rack of Keystone Light for like $13.
I went
then
to
we'll go float down the
Chico,
river.
I think it's, yeah. I went to Chico once in my life.
It's a magical
And
place.
I had 3 Long Island iced teas. And I was seeing like my friend's band play or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And I got pretty drunk. We were doing cartwheels and somersaults through the store parking, the aisles of the grocery store later that night.
But the thing I love about there is you can get just demolished. You can get the entire bar drunk for like $30. Here it's like, or most places, you go anywhere and it's like you can't even just have a couple drinks for yourself for $30.
Yeah.
Let alone like getting hammered.
Antonio's gonna raise under the gun here with a mystery hand. I'm going to assume Antonio has, at the very least, an ace and a wheel card, probably a suited ace.
Ghost, let me know when you come up. I'll come out and hang out.
Oh yeah, hit it up, Ghost Man. I think JFK will, roll out the red carpet.
Always. Yeah, I mean JFK. I think he gets credit on the stream, but honestly, I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does. I mean, he really works his butt off to, kind of get this thing going, put on a really good show, have a really good crew, and just is always out there in the poker community, just trying to get people into here. He does a pretty damn good job.
That's a tough... No, I think I know what you're getting at, Tooth. 1 second.
Until I get my badge, I don't know that I'm officially hired, right?
Jackson, yeah, I guess so. I don't even have a badge yet. Justin's still. I mean, that's why it takes me so long to clock in. I was like, they're like, what finger do you want to use? I'm like, oh, my thumb, and then I didn't realize where the thing was. So then I'm doing this, like, trying to put my thumb on this thing, and I was like, okay, we'll switch the finger, and it's just like, okay, it took a little bit longer than it should have. Okay, so it'd be interesting to see what JFK says you're already hired, by the way.
Like I said, until I see that paycheck,
if you like it, you better put a badge on it.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
All the employed ladies? All the employed ladies.
So ace 2 4-5 or ace 2 4-6. Yeah, I mean, I think personally I would probably have like ace. If I'm gonna have a 6, I'd probably rather have like maybe like ace 2 3 6. Wait, 3 4 5. Maybe, I don't know, 4 6. I get it. You can get a higher straight and 3/4 somebody with a low. It all just depends on what what the flop is really. But holding a 6 is not bad because sometimes you'll have a wheel and the 6 high straight.
Yeah, and I think that you can more likely do the nut.
Yeah. So having like the ability to beat the same hand for a higher straight is always nice.
Right.
But also, like, in some senses, having a 5 is blocking other people from having a 5, so it allows you to, like, kind of maybe understand a little bit better where you're at. I don't think anybody's going to complain if they have either of those hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Which one would I rather have? Give me the 6.
Yeah.
Rick, you are not too controversial. Only controversy is you trying to sell us on the fact that you're not playing poker anymore. Alright.
I mean, unless I'm way off about Barstow. Anybody who lives in Barstow is probably pretty mellow.
Yeah.
Or like the complete opposite and is just wanted by authorities in very many
That's
places.
California is like Mexico. You're staying, like running for the border. Like you're gonna hide out there. Alright. Antonio was a good flop and turns his straight. But what? Are you worried about ace jack? I mean, you still got to bet.
Yeah. It's like he bet and took it down. So, I mean, that's a huge thing. If you come out here to Stones, like all of you guys are eligible. I mean, maybe it won't work out scheduling wise, but if you schedule it in advance and you want to play on the stream, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
You can get on the list, play the games. When you come out here.
Right. And it's like I say, every single time I'm here, if you're going to be on the stream, or you want to get better at the game, you have to do a stream game. A couple, because how much you learn in such a short amount of time. I don't really think that there's too many learning opportunities that are comparable. Because you have so much information, there's just having someone see every single hand, the table dynamics, little things that you don't even look for in your own game to think about, having that pointed out to you, it's hard to really quantify how much of an educational opportunity that is. So it's like I always say, it is worth the plane flight out here if you live, far away.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're only an hour away from San Francisco, so if you're visiting the West Coast for the first time, only a couple hours away from Seattle or Portland if you want to go make a trip of it and come out and hang out in the West Coast.
And just kick it in the wine country.
Yeah, why not? There's tons of
streams. Decide to come out Monday through Thursday.
Spend the rest of the week just drinking wine. Holding 2, 3, 5, 6 seems way too tight. I mean, those are the kinds of hands you can definitely get. A lot of people have been limping, so you limp under the gun, you get to see a flop for one bet. 2, 3, 5, 6 isn't. I mean, it's okay. I don't know. Sometimes having a hand that's dependent on an ace hitting the board is a little, iffy. I used to like 2, 3, 5, 6 hands like that. I don't hate them. I just don't know that I would want to play it under the gun in this game. On the button, perhaps, if I knew I could see some free cards, if the action's going to check around to me, and I can decide to see a free turn or something like that, I don't hate it. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely some people's strategy. Get in cheap, get out cheap. You see a flop. I mean, we can say Shane is employing that strategy. Is it Shane that's in C2? I think it is. Yeah, Shane is employing that strategy. No, like I said, no one is flying to California just to play at Stones. That's why I named all of these other things. But I will say, there are actually quite a few people who fly to California just to play at Stones. I think the key is that there's a lot of stuff in this area, and if you live on the East Coast and you want to come visit the West Coast, it wouldn't be that difficult to include Stones into that trip if you weren't going to come just to play Stones.
Yeah, but like I said, if you want to get better, you come here for the stream, but you're not limited just to being here, because the stream's only 3 hours. So you have all the wine country, you have all the Bay Area, you have so many things open to you, that you can just build a whole trip around just the entire, the whole coming out here to Stones. You're not limited just to being here.
Gene's betting the nuts with a redraw to a jack high flush, which is not the best. Wow, Corey. This is awesome. This is really, really a great spot if you're Corey. Actually, it's an okay spot if you're Corey. It's a great spot if you're Gene. Even though you beat on the flush draw, but having the nuts with a flush redraw, it's not bad. Turns out really well for Corey. Corey's gonna get half of that pot. John is not gonna love having 5-6. He called a bet. Kind of a loose bet. What happens is he gets in there. He's got 2 flush draws. He misses the river.
Hoping that his low is good enough.
That maybe this bad low can yeah, the bad low like might help him redeem some of his chips. Typically, if there's like 3 people putting in money on the river, your second, third nut lows aren't always going to have. I mean, it depends. You're going to get a feel for the people at your table, whether or not they, how aggressively they play. They play their high only hands, how aggressively they play their low only hands, those kinds of things. You might be able to figure out where you stand and get some value with a little bit worse than that low, right? Like your 6-5s and those kinds of things. I don't know about 6-5, but your 2-4s, 2-5s kind of hands. I say check calling the river, yeah. If you bet and you get raised, you're calling because you have the nuts. Well, actually, I think you bet there because you have the nuts, and you have more, and you're playing more than heads up. Yeah, I think you bet there.
Right.
You gotta bet there because you want the low draw to be aggro. If somebody has a nut low, you want them to be raising and try to get some other money in the pot. Otherwise, you're done making money for this pot. You know what I mean?
And Tooth Doctor and a couple of people are also saying, sucks that the streams are only Monday and Wednesday. It's hard for people to have a job. We are going to start streaming on Friday starting next week. So you're going to have more options to be able to come out. But additionally, I mean, if you're going to come out, just take a few days off of work. I mean, that we're always going to be on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays now, so you have a lot of time in the future to plan, a trip to get, some coverage at work and, make it happen. So this is actually a nice little spot for Antonio, flopping the flush, and a lot of times, Shane makes a really good fold, because a lot of times you get...
I personally don't think... I don't know that Shane... I guess you can put 1 bet in and fold 2 bets.
Right, but I think a lot of people will get trapped into, I flopped a flush, and just, kind of... just get like that little mental block, that people are like, I have this hand.
Samantha went really aggro with a set and bet into Antonio on the... Did she bet the turn? Bet into him on the turn? That would be a pretty ambitious bet on the turn. If it gets 4 bet on the flop, and you have a set on a 3-diamond board, and you're going to bet into him. So I think she probably check called. But yeah, there you go. That's perfect. There are people who want to come here. They've been part of the community for a while, and they want to get a chance to play at Stones and see what's going on in these edges around in more than just a little corner of Stones. I think you'd be surprised at what this room is like. It's very nice. We should do like a tour one time. We have like a mobile, or I'm sure people have seen it on like Veronica's Snapchat or something, but like almost like a Cribs where we show you guys what's up with the joint. We're putting the Moneymaker up there again. Yep. Mr. Chris Moneymaker.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited to have him here. Just that whole action week.
It's going to be like the third time he's here for like a third different specific event, which is really great.
He really likes this area, likes the room, which everybody that comes out here always has the same response. There's always love the action here. They love the room, love the food.
It might be the 4th time he's been out here, actually. He came out here for the Dream Seed, he came out here for the golf, it's like at least the 4th time.
And then for one of the Stones series, series events that they always have here.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, it might be maybe like 5th. He's been here like fairly often. He's here almost as much as I am. Bart Hansen and Massive C in the game. I'm not sure the next time Bart is going to be in the Stones game.
But for Tooth Doctor, might be able to make it happen. Tooth Doctor, myself, we might be able to harass Bart enough to get him up here.
Oh, there you go.
So
yeah, I know Bart's played a few times in this game, 2040.
Yep.
Actually, that's what you asked that earlier. We have had at least one 2040 Omaha game before because Bart was here for that.
Yeah, and I played with Bart and one of the Veronica friends.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Alright, so Antonio's got Jack 3 for a full house. And he's going to win.
2 jacks with an ace.
Oh, wait, that's
Antonio.
right. He has a,
David
a full
has
house.
the jack
David
with an
has
ace.
jacks with an ace. Oh, there she is. Veronica. Hope you're feeling better.
What's going on, V? Thank you for the extra time in the booth.
She did get sick.
She's like,
Did you
oh.
get her sick? Is this a conspiracy? Is that what
I don't
happened?
think I can answer that.
Oh,
right
okay.
Now. It is true.
That's true. If you guys missed it, the last Veronica and Friends was a Christmas-themed episode, and well, let's just say that you made your own hat,
And my hat, my own
and if you,
sweatshirt.
it's gone for all eternity because you threw it away.
Absolutely.
So if you want to see it ever, you have to go watch it on the what's it, the VOD, VOD.
I gave her aerolized AIDS,
Oh,
apparently.
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I mean, she is a nurse. I would expect her to have
Well, I mean,
her
despite
terminology down a
popular
little better,
opinions,
but
aerial AIDS, you know.
aerolized, yeah.
Aerolized AIDS. I'm not sure. Nurses don't come with built-in immunities to diseases, especially forms of them that don't necessarily
exist.
exist. I don't know. Like, what's happening? All right. So Brandon has a set with the nut low draw, which is pretty much the absolute best hand you can hope for when you have this hand.
8 ace deuce 3.
This is exactly the hand you're looking for, or the flop you're looking for, or very close.
Not super stoked to see the 10.
Yeah,
there.
10's not great. You still have the low draw. He'll probably call one bet. I don't know. You know, at this point, you know, he's calling a bet. I don't think he's gonna go
He wants
too
a
wild.
8.
There you go. That's perfect. So now you can press, I think. The problem is you can't really bet, or otherwise it'll look weird. But is he actually going to get...
Yep. Shane has deuce 3 alongside him.
Yeah, but he might have the high unless Samantha has something better, because David only has 2 pairs.
Right.
So...
And does she table her hand?
I think Samantha called... I don't know what Samantha has yet.
She wasn't looking,
She has Queen Jack for a straight.
does she have queen jack? Okay.
Yeah. So Queen Jack for the straight. Samantha's gonna get some of the money. That's a perfect example of like middling, right? Like a place where you have a set one way and the nut low another way,
Right.
and you're only getting a quarter of the pot.
Yeah.
Which can happen sometimes. Often, you're probably going to get... I don't know how often that scenario plays out, where you're going to lose both ways, or split the
Yeah,
way.
especially with the 3-2. You know, you like I said, you might expect a little bit more of like ace-x.
It was like a 4-way pot, I think, so he might have actually made a little bit of money or broke even. Like, if you get a quarter of like a 4-way pot, you're fine.
Right.
But I mean, you're not loving having that kind of hand and not making any money.
Sure. So Veronica saying, you know, this game is sicker than her, which I think she should just come down, just sit down at the table, make the game 9-handed. You know, they'll just play one person ineligible if they have to. Cough all over the table, whatever, but just spew chips everywhere.
Spew chips and germs.
Why not? Everybody else does.
That's true. That is so true. That's why I just don't bother. I just kind of accept the germs.
Well, I look at it as you're making your immune system better.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I actually think that I think that works. I'm pretty sure that's like confirmed. The more your immune system has to work, the better it's gonna work. It's the whole point of like vaccines. Oh, we don't have to start on vaccines. Hopefully there's... there was not a cue.
I feel like we just got the chat like
controversial
somewhat under
topics.
control.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's just going to start spinning too fast that we can't even read anything.
This is the greatest game in poker, although PL08 is winning me over. Well, PL08 is great. Have you played Badoogie or No Limit Deuce Single Draw? Because Badoogie is probably the greatest game. Badoogie is the best game. I love that game so much.
Have you played Omaha?
Yeah.
I love Omaha.
Omaha's fine. I played Deuce to 7 Omaha. Yeah, which is grody. Because you still need to make the high on the Omaha board and the low in your hand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, is it a 3-way split, that game?
No. Best Deuce to 7 hand in your hand
Okay.
gets half the pot. Best Omaha hand on the board gets the other half.
Guys,
Speaking of Omaha,
come down for this tournament. January 14th. 150 buy-in, 5,000 guarantee, Omaha 8 or better, and it's just going to be a lot of fun.
yes, only fun.
If I'm at your table, I will buy you a mimosa.
Mention this thing, and you'll get a free mimosa. All right, so Antonio's under the gun with a hand that he seems to like. He was like, there you go. It's the typical decision. He made the correct one, or whatever, the more profitable one, to fold that hand pre-flop under the gun. But he was almost tempted.
I'm playing every hand, and I can't play this hand.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, there is that thing, like, kind of nudging you, saying, like, so often these hands have gone to the flop for one bet. I can limp, and I get to see it for one bet. And can definitely start to develop some really bad habits.
You definitely look down about 45 minutes to an hour later and wonder where $500 went.
Where'd they go? They went somewhere, not to your pocket.
I am at Master C 707 on everything.
Oh, dang. The Poker Boss stones Omaha while getting a foot massage. Pretty fantastic.
What's going on, Sean? Welcome.
I like it.
I felt like something was missing from the chat,
Yeah,
so
he'll show up.
now that he's here, it's complete.
Complete. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So David's gonna have the high end of the straight, and Corey's gonna get the low. So chop it up. Chop it up. See you in a week. Oh, that's right, because I believe that Poker Boss will be in this 2550. One of the many faces in this 2550 game.
That will be.
That may be another thing that I spoiled that JFK didn't want people to tell. Although I've seen him posting about it on social media, so I'm pretty sure that's out in the open. I'm pretty sure Sean's going to be on the stream in the 2550 game, probably in the booth, having some wine with Chris Moneymaker. And it's going to be an awesome time.
When you're the Poker Boss, you pretty much do whatever you want.
That's true. Which is weird, though, because, like, you come here, you're the Poker Boss, but you're in, like, then now, like, JFK's here, and he's, like, the Stones Poker Boss, kind of, like, it's interesting. They don't really butt heads. They probably just, like, coexist.
I mean, they both get it. They're both about growing the industry and, really having a good time. And, so you reach out.
It's also, should be known, that the only person who's allowed to say, my good friend, is Justin. That's it. The rest of us, we're not allowed to say it. We can say Justin's a good friend.
Yes.
Hey, everybody, it's Justin's good friend. The Poker Boss. John McCormick. Wait, what was the question? Oh yeah, Courchevel. I played that before. It's fun. Poker Boss has his own command. Yay. He'll teach you Courchevel. Yeah, Courchevel is crazy. You see one of the flop cards, and then you bet. So it's Omaha. You see, so you can have a set, but you don't know what the rest of the flop cards are. So you're betting. I think you get 5 cards though, too, don't you? Maybe that 5-card part. I think I played 5-card Courchevel before, which is insane. But
see, I love, I just love poker. So any new game variant, like, I'm down to play.
Tooth Doctor seeing if he's got his own command. Sorry, bro. Apparently, we haven't updated that yet. You don't have your command yet.
Eye tooth.
All right, David has some aces with the only high hand, but 10-9. I mean, if you're playing it, let's raise. But he doesn't want to. He says, you know what? Let's see a flop for cheap. Because
I wonder if he wasn't, 3-suited, if he would have raised there. If that's kind of
makes sense. And the 9 is like kind of a turdy little addition to the hand. If it's a king, a queen, or a jack, maybe he raises. Right. Yeah, for sure. Oh, see you later, Sean. Enjoy
Poker Boss, have a good night.
Sleeping.
Thanks for checking in.
The foot massage. All spades. No one has a flush, so that's great.
Shane does have the blocker if anybody's really paying
we'll
attention
see how
to that
aggro
kind of thing.
Shane wants to get with that, but
Shane, he's not a super aggro. He's going to be a little bit more, kind of call it down.
This is $100 in the pot. You're betting 20. I like the bet here. Oh, you raise. Is that right?
Yeah,
no, we checked to the turn. It checked through the flop and then checked to the turn and he raised the turn.
Or you bet the turn.
Yeah, or bet the turn. Okay, so I think you could make an argument for betting the flop there.
Right.
And then the turn and the river. And you can get a lot of folds here where you would only be getting half the pot.
Yep, and Shane backdoors the nut low, or the low.
He might still get the whole pot. But if he had bet the flop, turn, and river,
right,
he would definitely be getting the whole pot.
Right, it's really hard for anybody, especially now, we see that like nobody has the
yeah,
flush,
exactly.
So.
Blocking the nut flush with the nut low, I mean, on the button.
Right.
In a different position, maybe not betting every street, but I think you could definitely bet every street there. Now he has no command. Now he needs to get to stones. There we go. Got him.
Should the Tooth Doctor's command be just like directions from where he's at?
It's a link to kayak or whatever. It's a link to these Columbus to Sacramento direct flights.
Via walking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Distance for walking.
It'll just take 1,400 days.
Here, that's the thing. Here we go. We're going to do it. We're going to say the chat without looking it up. Hang on. Somebody's asking me. Somebody's texting me something. They want to know where to see the stream. He's probably going to come in and say some ridiculous stuff. But, all right, without looking it up, we'll say how long walking does Google Maps say Columbus to...
I'll say 98 days.
Wow, that's too many days. I'm going to say under, for sure. 98 days.
I don't know. I mean, does this factor in like rest time?
No.
See,
but it's still not going to be 98 days.
I don't know. How long did it take Forrest Gump to run across the world?
He did it like a few times and probably less than. Okay, so here we go. Walking. Any guesses from the chat? I'll give you a hint. It's not 98 days. It would be 98 days if you stopped every day and rested for 2 days. So that gives you an idea of 31 days.
I'll walk slow, okay?
Oh, goalie over.
That's if you're walking, just like nonstop. So now you think...
No, 30, yeah, so that's right. If you walk a day and then take a 2-day break, it'll take you 90 days.
I was thinking like, 8 hours.
Oh, true. You can... Yeah. You can definitely do it in 90 days. For sure.
I'm just going to keep justifying my reasons until my number sounds a little bit, a little better.
Yeah, circuit event, Thunder Valley, same weekend is a 5K guaranteed. Yeah, but it's a Sunday at 3 p.m. So if you're that deep in the main by then you're going to be happy to be missing the Omaha tournament. And if you're out of the main, you're going to be happy that the Omaha tournament is here to console you after you bust the main. There you go. That's funny. Google does assume you'll never stop.
And Google is our overlord.
But it gives you an estimate, rough estimate. Finally, Cyborg can walk in 90 days. Yeah. That's the next prop bet, right? Someone needs to walk from someplace to someplace.
From Tooth Doctor's house to Stones.
Yeah. Can we make that a prop bet? Does somebody want to pay somebody an absurd amount of money in a bet that says they couldn't walk from Stones to Tooth Doctor's house, and we'll set the day? Let's get that.
45 days.
45 days. I'm in. Who wants to pay me? Now, I'm not just going to do it for fun. For the pride of winning a bet.
Yes. Alright, and we have a poker hand going on here.
Yeah.
Which doesn't look like a ton going on.
It's sort of, the game got to a point now where 4 or 5 people are seeing every flop for one bet. Maybe 2 bets occasionally. Samantha looks like she's going to bet the turn there with 2 pair and an open-ended straight draw on a rainbow-ish board. Rainbow-ish. Gene's, I kind of like a raise here from Gene. I don't, you know, you got the low outs, you've got spade outs. I mean, your aces could be good in some kind of weird world.
Yeah.
Again, I don't hate. Maybe raising there is a bit loose, but the second that low there isn't. It's not. I would have liked to maybe see a raise on the turn or the read, like maybe at least the turn. But this is the kind of thing, like in a 20-40 game, if you're an aggro player, this is a spot where you could definitely raise. You could raise the turn and or the river. You might be able to, if you're raising the turn, you're probably not going to get the opportunity to raise the river because most people are going to check. Although the set of jacks is probably still going to bet. And then Samantha's, this is where you want to like chop up that person, or it's not the person, but the person's money that's in the pot that isn't going to get any of the pot. And that's, you want, the sooner you realize who you're splitting the pot with, or whether you're scooping or not, the better position you're in terms of maximizing your value. So, you know, maybe that would have been an ambitious raise. Definitely a raise on the turn. I could see that being a thing for sure.
I think one thing that's nice, you know, you see like, this is, you know, 2040, and, you know, I think a lot of people that do play this game are going to play more in the, you know, 4-8 to kind of 8-16 range. Yeah, and you're kind of seeing not a whole lot of difference in play between the two games. You know, it's like you would think like, oh, I'm going to play 2040, it's going to be just this really kind of just the best hands going at it kind of thing. And you can see that even a game of this caliber, you know, you're going to have a lot of people just seeing most hands. It's going to be very multi-way, you know, and it's not going to just be a showdown on the nuts every time.
Yeah. Brandon's in a good spot here. This is a kind of hand that if you're going to play it too, you want to put some pressure on.
So David in the corner, hidden with the set of aces.
And the nut flush redraw.
Yep.
And the, you know, the live 5 redraw too. I think, I mean, Brandon's in a spot where you can apply some pressure. He did 3-bet. David might consider 4-betting. Maybe he doesn't want to scare away
I think,
potential customers. Now there's only 2 of them. That's the downside of 3-betting, right? If you go too crazy too early, the people with those subpar hands where you actually get like a ton of value, the people who are calling with the 2 pairs and the big draws or the draws. So they're both convinced they're chopping the pot at this point because he didn't raise the nut
Brandon
flush.
thought he might have had a chance at a scoop.
Oh, Brandon's 100% bet. When you have the nut low and now you made a flush, like, yeah, your flush sucks, but you're getting some money back. In all, I think, I don't know if it's a standard rule, but maybe it should be. If you know you're getting money back and you're first to act, I think you can bet almost always, unless the action like prior has made it look like, okay, you're getting quartered or something. I don't know. Maybe that's not. The more I think about it, that might not be. You can't really have those like hard, fast rules.
Yeah.
Because of situations where you might be getting quartered and you're first to lead, so check calling is going to be the best route for you to go. Antonio's added to his stack a little bit. I think he started out with like 3,000 when we started the stream. Somewhere closer to 3,000. He's up $700 since then. I don't know if he bought back in, but I don't think he has. He's been
Antonio, no.
He's been coloring up chips.
He's just been watching his Game of Thrones over there on the side, and coloring up chips.
So this is another spot too, where these hands, these 8-8, 3-deuce kind of hands in the early position, you know, they are appealing because you think about like the kinds of hands you can make with this, and you have been able to see a bunch of flops for one bet, but this is the kind of hand that's going to get you in trouble. Right. What is that? Brandon had that same hand, hit a set, and the nut low, and only got a quarter of the pot. Right. So that's another thing with it is just think about like what you're going to be able to make when your hand
gets least there. You do have a 3-2 to go with it. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of people like say have 8-8 and then have like 5-6, you know, which is just not even give you anything for really any low options.
Yeah, and now you're in a spot where you just put in 3 bets pre, and you can't really reasonably continue here.
Right.
You can't really love your flush draw. I like Shane's betting. It looks like it checked through the flop. We keep getting the flop and the turn kind of lag a little bit, but it looks like it went check through the flop, and then Shane's gonna bet the turn. And here we go, King Queen. So Brandon makes a straight, and we don't know what Shane has. Check, check. Shane's not in the hand anymore. How does Shane bet, or did he know? Okay, so Shane probably tossed his hand out, tabled his hand early, or mucked it as soon as he saw the straight. Unless he folded on the turn. I'm so confused at what just happened.
Wow.
But we know Brandon scooped. So great job, Brandon.
It's a good run.
We're all proud of you, real proud of you here in the booth. We're winding down the home stretch. We've got 30 minutes left in our 2040-08 game. If you guys haven't been watching, we've a one-day Omaha tournament coming up with a $150 buy-in. It is January 14th, a Sunday at 3 p.m. And it's going to be a fun little kind of Turbo-E kind of Omaha tournament. It should be very exciting. I'm a big fan of anytime Stones has tournaments that are not Hold'em. Yeah, so that's coming up. Also, Omaha Week, which is that tournament, I think either kicks off or finishes Omaha Week.
Right.
So the streams that week are going to be all Omaha games. That should be pretty exciting. Yeah, it's eight-handed. I'm not sure if we've had an Omaha game that was 9-handed. I think all of our Omaha games, at least the last like 5 or 6 Omaha games, have been 8-handed.
Right.
High-low. Unsure. I think same with the high, but maybe not. Maybe the high gets... only Veronica and Friends is 9-handed because she's got so many friends. Actually, because the list for that game is just probably miles long.
Yeah, it's longer than Santa's list, for sure. All right.
Gene flops 3 4s, but not super... I mean, you can't love it. You really can't love it on this board.
So basically where we're at is we're seeing flops where one person has folded. This is a good game.
Last 30 minutes, yeah. Everybody's exploring the space a little bit. Why not? I think too, one of the things is those hands look a lot more appealing when you start to get stuck. Maybe you see someone play a hand, win a big pot with a subpar hand, so now you're like kind of convincing yourself that like, you know, that's the kind of thing. Oh, Corey has a full house made already, so Gene is in a tough spot. Corey can't feel great.
So is John continuing on with a flush draw, probably some kind of flush draw with a low draw?
I mean, you could be bombing that with like ace-3, or not bomb. I guess you're making a bet. So one bet and limit is probably not bombing. But Gene makes a better full house. and is going to take the high. We'll see if
See what John is doing. John looks like he tabled something.
John gets anything back.
I see some diamonds, but I can't really see.
For those of you guys who missed it at home, Master C just tried to do a little John Madden thing where he circled. Here's what we're going for here. Boom! Tough acting.
Oh, that was a donut.
Boom! Here he bets he bets the best hand. Boom!
So yeah, I should do it in camera. Just over here,
Yeah.
if you look down there.
Here is a fat head.
Yeah.
There's another fat head.
Yes, very round.
Hard to buy hats for this. That's why you have to make them.
Right?
Yeah, so if you haven't checked it out, Ghost of M just linked the calendar. This is the upcoming events here. And we got confirmation from Stone's Live Poker that the Omaha one-day tournament on the 14th kicks off Omaha week. It's going to be the start of a week of Omaha. So it's like we've been doing at least one stream a month of Omaha, and now we're going to do an entire week out of 1 month. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people really like to play Omaha. You know, it's really gaining traction and popularity. You know, so it only makes sense that we're gonna focus a little bit more on Omaha and, you know, bring it into the fold. And it's a great game to play.
Yeah, lots of fun. You can do things like limp and then call a limp. But Samantha knows what's up, raising on the button. She has a good hand, so.
Liking that Omaha.
But she's been raising pretty much every hand where she's entering the pot, even with the previous action is kind of like call.
Right.
Here, I think I would. I mean, if it checks to me and I was Samantha, I would probably bet again.
This multi-way.
Yeah. Just because it's a safe flop to c-bet. Like, you still have, I don't know how many like free type things. I'm not sure. I think I'm betting here with this. Obviously now it sucks because you're like, I'm not gonna bet here with my hand. You could make an argument for betting, but betting on the flop saves you. Oh well, she doesn't care, which is also fine.
I'm just, like I've said, you know, this whole time, I always have a hard time when you just have the ace deuce for.
Yeah, now you're just kicking yourself.
Yeah.
I just think like because you raised free,
right?
It's okay to continuation bet. I don't think at that point you have to be able to like. You should probably check when it checks to you on the turn. You get to see the river for free. Right.
Check there.
You can get raised a lot on the turn. I mean,
yeah,
you're betting. You're betting
like
somebody who's a random 5.
Or pocket 8s. You know, that hit a set. Like a lot of people, when they have a nutted hand, they wait for the turn to be able to check raise. They want to wait for the bigger bet.
I like the raise pre. I like the bet on the flop. I'm okay with that. I'm thinking the check on the turn is probably where it went a little bit wrong, but she didn't lose any more money. At least, I don't think. Yeah, there's no way she called the river. With ace queen high, right? Oh man! So Antonio's put in some work here and made about $600-700 since we started the stream. Gene has a big stack. That's kind of like what Antonio's stack might look like. At least a piece of his stack might look like if he hadn't cashed in all those.
I would like to see,
chips.
all those reds. I love seeing big stacks. Like big stacks are just, a thing to behold. So Brandon's gonna raise here.
Oh, yeah. With a, it's okay.
He's probably like it.
So when it's raised to Samantha, she just calls in position. I'm not a really gigantic fan of this hand. If you wanted to call this hand, I think calling Jack 9 or cards that go with Jack 9, like Jack 9, 10, 9, 8, Queen, or the other version, the 5 deuce 3 4, like have your hand be a little bit closer.
Samantha's actually thinking that this is a somewhat decent flop for her because she flops open-ended.
Yeah, and now she had the second nut low too. She has not been afraid to put chips in the middle, and now she makes a straight. And the second unknown. She's not going to get the whole
hanging
pot.
around here, so we got to think.
Yeah, this is
He probably
hard.
maybe has smaller diamonds, or
Yeah, look at this though. This is so
like
rough.
deuce 4 kind of a hand.
I almost think.
Did he just raise? No, he just called
it's
the
just
raise.
like.
Brandon. Yeah, and deuce 4 right there for the low.
I mean, this is part of the reason why I'm surprised he didn't raise. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to raise there. He had the deuce 4.
Right.
So he had the blocker for the 2. I would have raised there, thinking that I was pretty confident I would be the only one that had, especially once Samantha puts in a bet.
Right.
Raising there can be that much more profitable, I think, because you're blocking deuce 4.
Right.
You have deuce 4, but you are also taking one of her deuces away. And then she's already got a bet in. She's way more likely to call a bet than she is to call like 2 bets cold. Right? So much of, especially this game, is like where whatever is happening happens, and what position are you in? Because actually, the last time Chris Moneymaker was here, the cash game was a PL08 cash game, and there was a huge bet on the river, and this guy called with a player behind him, and the player behind him ended up folding the best hand, and the guy who called, like by calling with the third bet or like the second best hand, he actually ended up winning because the person behind him made a fold that you're supposed to make given the action when he made a call that he maybe wasn't supposed to make or whatever. So it's interesting how each little thing.
All these dynamics change.
Yeah. Good night, Rick in Barstow.
All right, good night, Rick.
Have a good night.
Yep.
If you talk to Waprai, tell him what's up. Did Waprai come back? Let's make sure.
No, he will.
He knows what's
I
up.
talked to him a little bit earlier. So you gotta love having trip aces in your hand.
So Rick and Barstow basically just baited Waprai into getting his mod removed.
I don't know the events.
Great job, Rick and Barstow.
Yes.
That shows an in-depth knowledge of the way that Moobot works.
Man, I sure hope they didn't change it to where Moobot can.
Does it get timed out? It takes
time
your mod
out the
away? What's
mods?
that about?
Because me and Moobot don't like each other. That guy tries to.
Moobot's like, nah, friend, nah.
Master C no longer mod.
More like Master D.
Yeah, Master demoted.
All right, we got 25 more minutes of Omaha High-Low of the 2040 variety. I like it. Can we just do that? I'm really bummed we didn't start that at the beginning of the stream. Dang it.
There was an opportunity there.
Yeah, missed. You know what they talk about 100% of the shots you don't take? I should have taken that shot a little bit earlier. Looks like Shane's raised to $40.
Which I'm okay with this.
Dave's coming
from
along.
Late position over a couple.
Yeah, like I think you could make an argument that you just play, you raise when you enter the pot, right? Like in limit game, you want to you want to be able to control the action post flop too. Like a lot of people will check to you, hoping to check raise you.
Definitely come in raising with hands that are going to have like nut potential.
Yeah, ace deuce 5,
or
the
easy
9.
nut
Yeah,
potential.
we're talking about this. The 9's kind of turdy, but it's not that bad. And here, the 9, in theory, gives him another out to the high. When I say another out, like it's only, I guess, a 4 or
Yeah, I mean, go running 7.
an 8 is going to get him there. Because the 7 came on the turn. So a 4 or an 8 is going to actually get him to... I think that is not one of those cards, but he's still got some of the pot locked up. We haven't seen the other hand yet. David's betting. So that could be something like... actually,
like a queen jack kind of hand.
That could be like a 2-pair.
Yeah.
Shane, you can't fold.
I mean, 4-5 maybe.
With a bet and a call, he just calls, assuming.
Yeah,
that,
4-5.
Yeah, okay. I could have seen a place where like you try raising with chain. It's not unheard of. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It depends on how strong John's hand is, whether he knows like he can just like jam real hard because he knows he's like never losing the high. I guess he didn't even win the high. It was David that won the high.
Yeah, with the 4-5 straight.
I am not currently on the list for the PL8. I don't think I might try. I don't know. I probably won't. Last time I got blasted when I played 5-5 PL8 on the stream. I might not do it, but I might. Give Chris the opportunity to take some shots at me because he will take some shots at me. He's going to call me Brett all night. 100% going to call me Brett all night. And yeah, that's why I'm kind of bummed. Currently not scheduled to be in the booth with Chris, but it would mostly just be me and him harassing each other.
But,
him drinking.
Yeah. And that's the harassment right there. He's like,
it's like a
you can say whatever you
already.
want, like the best comeback, and his best comeback, like, he just takes a sip. I'm sorry, I was drinking. What did you say? Like,
in the booth.
Okay.
You know that part?
Yeah.
Brandon's getting aces again. Here's a nice high hand, like a good combo high hand. You don't love a lot of flops, but you love a lot of flops also. You don't love that flop.
No.
Wow, you don't love that flop. That flop sucks.
We're seeing Samantha's getting a little kind of out of line with some of these leads. Yeah, because what's really going to call you here? I mean, are you trying to bluff?
In a sense, she just won, what is it?
So was she trying to bluff?
$170. Well,
I mean, do you really think that it's
maybe she's thinking
if nobody has the flush, just going to get through?
Well, if somebody calls, then I think you're done betting. I suppose betting into 3 people with a pair and open-ended, is a bit optimistic. You're getting lucky in the sense that no one has a piece of that. With 3 players behind you, 4 players total in the hand. Let's see. All right. Whew. I'm very excited. I was happy to see that this was going to be 2040 Omaha.
Right. I'm also glad that, it is playing kind of as splashy as it is. It gives a lot to talk about and a lot of interesting kind of hand
I'd like to see a little bit more like. I think I'd like to see a little bit more raising pre, but I think more raising pre would lead to smaller pots. Like in this situation where Gene raises, everybody folds, right? Like nobody wants to see that on the stream.
Right.
That hand is boring. His hand was nice. Ace 5 deuce or ace 5 8 or something. I don't know. Maybe it was ace deuce 8. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
It was so long ago. Oh, Veronica says she just talked to J.K. Stones. Must see fired. I gotta raise.
Why do you think I was trying so hard earlier, to say, all those nice things about JFK?
Right. Try to prevent yourself from being fired.
Look, when you get on Veronica's bad side, there's just nothing you can do.
Pretty much.
And I think I probably had a little too much glitter on that night, and it just rubbed her the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, how can people get mad about glitter? Unless you have to, sweep it up. And in that case, I could see...
Well, I was using my player's card. It actually worked out real well. Kind of like, when they, sweep crumbs off a table.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Like that. I thought you were going to do some kind of movie-type reference. Were you, doing lines of glitter at the table? Is that what was happening? Okay, good.
My name.
Don't do lines of glitter, ever.
Yeah,
but preferably also not.
I gotta think your sneezes would be amazing.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Okay, maybe do lines of glitter because that would be fun to watch. I'm not lazy. Do it now. He's a bad bowler. That's why I love glitter. Veronica's awake.
Yeah.
Feeling better?
Veronica took some of that syrup and is all over the place right
She's coughing and sneezing glitter all over the place right now.
I love glitter. We know.
The Mariah
Glitter.
Carey movie?
Glitter. Yes, that too.
The Mariah Carey movie glitter or actual glitter? I would protest and oppose Master C be fired. Oh, wait.
I mean, I
So
appreciate
he's got your
it,
back. He's got your back.
but I don't know that it would be a very large protest. You know, you might be by yourself, and people might just think you're like one of those people with the street signs that are flipping, you know, saying, hey, buy a cell phone here.
Yeah. Free Master C. That's what we should. That's what the.
But
new,
if he's dancing while doing it, like, I'm liking my chance.
Twirling the arrow and stuff.
Yep.
Pretty exciting. All right. Well, let's see if we can get some neato hands. Neato hands. That's a technical term.
Magneto hands.
Magneto hands. Let's see if we get some magneto hands where somebody just sucks up all the chips.
Right.
Even though they're not metal.
But they could still be solid.
Yeah.
So when Chris Moneymaker's son says, I've had a lot of followers, it makes me wonder, like, did they all leave him? Like, what happened?
He's saying I have a lot of followers.
I have a lot of followers.
Yeah. I think he currently has a lot of followers. We can fill the entire parking lot of Which one? The one here or both?
Right?
The back one and the front one?
Parking garage too?
Both of the garages? Are we building new parking garages so we can fit all these friends in? Change, I told you.
Well, a lot of random hands in this hand. And Samantha probably just outturned everybody.
Flush come on the turn?
No, a queen. Which it seems unlikely, you know, any people are going to have the straight. As she is blocking the queens.
Yeah, she's going to bet here because it keeps checking to her. They haven't given her any reason not to bet.
She's got queens and 9 kings. Oh, bigger set. And Samantha just can't get any traction going right now.
Yeah, sets are a bummer.
And that look says it all right there. It's just thinking
this
like,
is the
I
thing.
think I turned my hand and...
Yeah. The set mining in Omaha is not... I think it's a much more dangerous proposition than it is in Hold'em. I mean, obviously. A set is a very, very good hand in Hold'em. It's actually sometimes not even a good hand. It's an alright hand in Omaha.
Right. Yeah. Now, definitely in PLO, you know, it's going to be more of a game about, you know, your draws, pushing your edges and your draws. But a game like this, where you can't raise, you know, like can't pop people out of it, you know, it's still about your draws. It's still about getting, like, realizing the equity of your draws rather than kind of betting the equity of your draws.
Yeah, because like if you bet and then it gets raised and 3-bet because, you know, somebody has a set or 2 pair or something on the flop, they're going to get... Often people go wild with those kinds of hands. I don't necessarily think that's a good idea, but that's what they do. That's how they approach it. So it costs you that money regardless of whether you think they should be doing that or not.
Samantha turns another set, and you wonder if she is a little gun-shy at this point.
It's a pretty bad set. But she's not gun-shy. Although on this board, this set is a little bit safer. It's not fantastic, obviously, because it's a second set. I mean, it's not that bad.
Can Corey even come through with his hand?
Corey says, yeah. Yeah, I can. And I'll show you.
Angry Pollock doing her best imitation.
What do you mean funny?
Gangsta. But yes.
Do I amuse you?
Yes, like a clown, yes.
Brought to you by Ben.
But yeah, the chat here is great. Yeah, I love it. Love talking to people. Love harassing and messing with people. You know, everybody ribs everybody. And you do not know where the conversation is going to go when you're in the chat. It
depends on who's in the chat. Sometimes you know where the conversation is going to go.
Well, it usually goes in the gutter. But, where that gutter leads is, like a whole different myriad of options.
Unsure whether Samantha has actually gotten like gun shy. She's in position. She entered the pot. She just called. She didn't raise. She's been raising pretty consistently.
She's not folding very much right now.
True. That's one thing. I think often people's limping range shows a lot about, like what they value as good and bad. I kind of lost my thought there for a second, and I'm just like, how do I recover from this?
Sometimes there isn't a recovery.
I had it was really great thought, really like fantastic thought about limping, but I think a lot of people limp. It almost like says my hand isn't great. Like I don't love it.
Right.
Which makes it easy for people to try to push you off of it, or at least like they're like, oh, okay, you probably. How many people are gonna limp under the gun a really nice hand like, ace king deuce ace or ace king deuce or like a top tier hand. I want to see like a multi-way 4-bet on the turn, crazy, like one of those crazy huge 4-8 Omaha pots, but in 2040.
It'd be nice if they just did like a bomb pot or something else a little.
Where you have to cap every street.
Yeah.
And then you don't look at your hand. That would be kind of insane. Ooh. I don't know why I hit this like yawn moment. It's lasted too long. If I thought I could like do jumping jacks,
is wearing off.
Yeah. How's the salad run go for the booth?
That's what I want to find out. It could be disastrous.
Well, we need whatever salad or food option is going to ramp things up and make things crazy over here.
We need to get the table a bunch of salads.
Salads for everyone. Salads on the house.
Yeah, I think JFK is covering it, right?
Oh, for sure. Buying everyone salads. That's what he told me. If you're within 20 minutes, just come down here.
20 minutes of stone.
Free salad overlay. All right, so a really fantastic board, ace, deuce, 3-4, which gives David a wheel, but Gene is the first to bet.
Still continuing with his nut flush draw. Or not nut flush draw.
Second nut flush draw. And
it's a lot of aces. And I don't know that David's in love with this full house. I don't think he's folding. Scoop.
Scoop. That's what you have to do.
Scoop and loop.
Scoop. Kind of like an air horn. Alright, Samantha's either rebought or worked her way back up to over 1,000. I feel like she maybe rebought.
She did rebuy.
I missed that part.
A little while ago. Paul is in the house, and actually Paul makes a lot of the Stones Live hats.
Oh,
and
right.
He designed, the logo and everything. So I haven't seen the special, Stones hat that they're going to give away as a part of the Chris Moneymaker week. But if he had anything to do with the design, I would expect it to look good.
Yeah.
So Gene's raising with the A653.
Pretty ambitious raise, I think.
Right. Especially on the button, just go ahead and call along. You're not going to thin out the field all that much with a bet here. And I actually like Corey just leading out with the set of kings. I think there's been a lot of hands where it's just gone, checked around. So I don't think you can, if you're from early position with a hand like, either a big draw or kind of top set kind of thing, I don't know that you really want to check.
Yeah, it's just so hard to check raise and actually get value beyond that point, I think. So often when you check raise, that people calling you is going to have to be a lot tighter. This could actually be interesting. Was it a 10?
It was another jack.
Oh, another jack.
But Dave's just in check call mode right here. And look how unlucky I got. I got the jack. Corey's just going to give him that. Yep, that's rough tap.
Nice hand.
And stack the chips.
Roll the eyes. Nice.
I feel for you. I feel for you.
Yeah, nice freaking hand. All right, so we were winding down. Last 5 minutes. It's been a good time. I think we've got a pretty steady heap of viewers checking out our 2040-08 game here at Stones Live.
Definitely appreciate everybody coming through and hanging out with us.
Yeah, feel free to hit that follow button. It's a green heart at the top of the screen, and you can select whether or not you want to receive email updates when Stones Live goes live, which is about 30 minutes, I think, before the streams, which are like 7 o'clock. Is it PST? PST?
Yep.
Pacific time.
And it's always interesting when you come down to like the last hand or two of the stream. If the players are aware, it's like, do they play even a little bit more aggressive, try to get kind of lucky in a real big pot on the last hand of the stream, especially players that are stuck a little bit, try to get some back.
Yeah, but maybe they just aren't leaving. The game doesn't necessarily stop when the stream is.
These games almost never stop when the stream, finishes.
I think what they said last time, they had an Omaha game that they started on the stream, went all night, and ended the next day.
That was the November Veronica and Friends. The game went about 29 hours. A great game. And then actually last month's or this month's Veronica and Friends ended pretty much right away because we all went bowling.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's hard to keep that
game going. Which was so strange. You're just like, bam, everybody pieced out. That was funny.
I mean, it's such a rarity, but
Yeah, I say strange. It was just different. It didn't happen very often.
But we did end up playing some drunk poker at like some bowling alley here that has a little backroom table, which was fun.
That's funny. Samantha's going to fire the set of sixes. Another set that could potentially get her in trouble, and it will. Jack 8 is going to
And she's just not having any luck with her sets. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like lesson 1, 2, and 3 in how brutal sets can be in this game. And all of them have happened to Samantha in the last hour and 10 minutes.
Yep.
Hopefully on the final hand, it doesn't happen again. I think we might have time for 1 or 2 more hands before we wind the stream down. Just to remind you guys real quick, on January 14th, the one-day Omaha tournament, 3 p.m., $150 buy-in. That's coming up at January 14th, kicking off a week of Omaha streams. And then our boy, Chris Moneymaker.
He's going to be in the booth. He's going to be in the house. Wednesday, January 3rd, Thursday, January 4th, Friday, January 5th, starting with a 5-5 no-limit hold'em game, which even that game is good action.
Probably going to be huge, yeah.
Now,
I want to show off for
and then
Chris.
this is where it really gets interesting. We're going to have a 5-5 PLO 8 game, and that is going to just be off the rails. And the game I'm really looking forward to is the 25-50 on Friday, no limit hold'em. You know, you're gonna have some just true killers in that game. You're gonna have some real good action in that game.
For sure.
So I mean, you want entertainment value. Those are the 3 days you need to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely. I was saying this as like a joke. It's like bowl season. This is when all the big football games are on. This is our bowl season.
Yep.
Chris Moneymaker here with these 3 games coming up.
And then come in. We will be streaming on YouTube. Make sure you're over there, hanging out, watching us over at YouTube. That's where we're going to be chatting and giving our best sideline strategy.
Samantha 3-bet pre with 6-5-5 deuce.
And she hits another set.
This is going to be a situation where she actually wins, but she doesn't win any money. And I think she's chopping.
Right, and I don't think she'd bet. I mean, probably a high-low split. But.
Yeah, and she's chopping the low anyway. So no betting, no action, and that's unfortunate. So the one time she hits a set and doesn't lose, she doesn't make any money.
Right. It's been a disastrous night for her having sets.
Sets are so rough. But anyway. It's been fun. It's 2040 in Omaha.
Yeah, a really great game.
We're really it looks like we got a homie coming in. We will be back in. Let's see, what's the next thing? Is this the next thing we're doing? No. So final Sunday tournament coming up New Year's Eve. Yep. If you're around or you're going to be out partying, I'm going to be here. I think JFK is going to be in the booth with me. That's going down New Year's Eve, and then obviously the New Year is going to kick off with Chris Moneymaker, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th here at Stones Live. Tune in every night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then the one-day Omaha tournament coming up January 14th.
Which is kicking off PLO week.
PLO week.
Every stream's going to be Omaha week. Every stream's going to be Omaha. And a lot of really cool things going on for the beginning of the year. Like I said, we're upping the days that we're streaming to Monday, Wednesday, Fridays now.
Yeah.
With various Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot more content to view, and a lot of bigger games also. A lot of people want to see kind of the sicko big games.
Yeah, 25-50 is going to be the first 25-50 game of the year.
I know we have another 100, 200 limit game on the books already, so we're going to be having that
1K sit and goes coming up, all kinds of stuff. Stay tuned. If you're not following Stones Live already, it's Stones Live Poker on Twitter. It's also this. Just hit the little green heart, and you can follow us here. But stay tuned for all that stuff, and thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody. Thank you.